So it starts with our boy Suwoo doing what every high schooler thinks is a good idea. He confesses to the class baddie, telling her that he liked her since day one. The girl is standing there with that hesitant expression, and our boy immediately jumps to conclusions, thinking she hates it because of his weight. She tries to let him down easy, saying he's funny and sensible, so there's no reason to hate him. But then comes the classic friend zone excuse about wanting to focus on studies. Man, that one hurts every time. So our boy takes the L and walks back to his best friend, who's like, yo, how'd it go? And Sue stood there with tears in his eyes and told him about the rejection. His friend is all mad about how the girl made a lame excuse because apparently she has never shown any interest in studies whatsoever. While they're walking and processing this emotional damage, a ball comes flying towards Suwoo, and our boy catches it with one hand without even looking. Bro's farming some serious aura here. The player runs over asking if he's okay. All teary, our boy asks his homie why he is overweight when he does everything right. His friend says that he is curious too because Sue was incredible at sports, never overeats, and exercises regularly, and if everyone put in half the effort this kid does, the world would be full of fit people. He suggests visiting a doctor, but Sue's already been down that road multiple times. The doctors told him if he can't lose weight despite all his efforts, it must be genetic. Back at his apartment, our boy's looking at this family picture. Beautiful mom and a dad who went to get milk and never came back. His father was apparently some Korean wrestling legend with crazy strength and a wall full of awards. His mom had once told him that his dad was the kind of guy who could build muscle just by thinking about it, stating that all this hard work isn't paying off for a second. Our boy thinks, you know what? Screw this salad. I'm going to eat something good for once. Nothing I do matters anyway. But then when push comes to shove, he doesn't have the guts to do it and sticks to his discipline. Later that night, he's out driving in the streets, and his device tells him he's broken his own record. While he's venting his frustration about his classmate and pushing his limits, he doesn't even realize how far he's gone from home. Just as he's about to check where the hell he is, some old man sitting on a bridge railing comments on his speed, says it's pretty impressive for someone his size. Maybe it comes from his genes. Then this crazy grandpa jumps 15 feet from the bridge like he's in an action movie or something, scaring the hell out of our boy. The old man introduces himself as Grandpa Bogeyman, the one responsible for keeping an eye on all the demons of Korea. Sue's standing there confused, wondering if this dude has some screw loose or something, so Grandpa decides to show rather than tell and swooshes them to another dimension. Our boy has no idea what's happening, but then his eyes go wide because he's surrounded by monsters from all sides. The old man explains that this place is the demon realm and everyone who can enter is a demon. He starts going on about how demons used to be worshipped, but now they're just superstition. Continuing his explanation, Gramps told our boy that every 666 years there's this tournament to choose the demon king. Every demon species sends their best fighter, and the current king's about to get dethroned. Sue interrupts him, asking, what the hell does any of this have to do with me? Gramps continues his explanation, telling him that every demon family has to send a candidate, and Sue got chosen because he's the only person left with goblin blood running through his veins. Sue is trying to tell him he's got the wrong guy, but before he can finish explaining, a scary demon jumps right next to him. This monster called Big Mouth starts talking about how he hopes to eat Suwoo if he wins because it's been 666 years since he tasted human flesh. Seeing his ugly mug, our boy almost passes out, but then Big Mouth kicks our boy thinking he's a football or something and sends him flying. Suwoo flies in the air for some time and then crashes to the ground. While Suwoo was getting his ass handed to him, Gramps thought that it was the right time to tell him that he needs to prove himself to earn his spot in the competition, meaning even though he's the last goblin alive, he's got to survive this beatdown to qualify. Meanwhile, Big Mouth was still treating our boy as a ball, yanking him all over the field, and this bastard had the audacity to comment how he didn't think that Suwoo would last this long. After beating our boy to a pulp, Big Mouth was ready for a snack. Well, given the size of our boy, he won't have to eat for months afterwards. He sticks out his slimy tongue and went to grab Suwoo. But then something crazy happens. Sue actually blocks the attack. Gramps goes into his monologue and starts explaining how since ancient times goblins were famous for learning skills through pure instinct. Their bodies just adapt to whatever they need at the moment. And sure enough, a powerful aura starts coming off Sue as he not only blocks Big Mouth's attacks, but also starts fighting back, and our boy drops the fat suit and shows up shredded. Man went from moon size to moonlighting as a Greek god. Now that his goblin genes are fully awakened, Sue flips the Big Mouth of the ground and slams him right back like he weighs nothing. As the dust clears, he was standing there like a badass looking at the sky, while the big dude was completely out of the picture. The next day, there's our boy Sue back to his chubby self, hanging out with his friend like nothing happened. He's telling his buddy about last night's crazy demon wrestling match, which he's convinced was just some wild dream. But when he mentions how he flipped that monster after getting his ass kicked, his friend gives him this weird look and says, dude, that's strange. People usually dream about stuff they actually do. And Sue hasn't touched wrestling in forever. Our boy's sitting there with this thoughtful expression, saying how vivid the whole thing was, like he could actually fight again if someone asked him to. His friend just laughs and tells him not to get ahead of himself. So he sighs and agrees, thinking maybe he's so obsessed with losing weight that his brain decided to dream about gaining muscles instead of fat for once. But then in the blink of an eye, our guy finds himself right back in that demon realm. The old man walks up to him with a white-haired baddie who tells Sue he passed out after his fight but woke up earlier than expected. And our poor boy is still in denial mode, staring at that monster corpse trying to convince himself this isn't real. His mind's flooding with questions like how the hell do I get home? And what happens to my chubby body now that I've got muscles? Gramps turns to the girl and asks for her opinion, and man, this girl is not impressed. She's all disgusted, calling our boy that thing, and says how even though he has goblin blood, he had almost lost to someone who could barely be called a demon at all. Apparently this type of demon is all brute force, no magic, so when it comes to facing real demons, our boy's gonna get wrecked. Eager to get the hell out of there, Sue asks the old man if he can go home now that he has proved himself. The old man told him that he had come up with a decision while he was asleep, and the verdict is that he has to do it once more. Meanwhile, the demons were impressed seeing Sue knock out his opponent in one hit. They think his body might be hiding some serious power. They were even more amazed to see a goblin fight after ages. The old man slams his cane on the ground for dramatic effect and declares that our boy isn't human but a demon, then orders everyone to spread the news far and wide. The old man then turns to our boy and explains that by listing him as a demon instead of a human, no demon will dare hurt or try to eat him. That's cool and all, but Sue just wants to go home, man. The girl scoffs at his naivety and tells him that now that he has been registered as a demon, he can't return to the human world unless he's 500 years old and skilled enough to hide his true identity. 500 years, folks. Our boy's going to miss a lot of gaming updates. Sue insists he's completely harmless and won't cause trouble even if he goes back. The buggyman told our boy that if he insists on going back, he has no choice but to kill him. He then lets out his killing intent, but to everyone's surprise, including his own, Sue instinctively jumps backward, dodging the attack like some kind of Matrix move. The old man, then stroking his beard, asks our boy if he gets it now. Whether he considers himself to be a human or not doesn't matter now that his body has already become that of a monster. He then starts explaining how Sue has no idea how much power his body actually has. Goblins are considered one of the strongest demon species, and even in his starter form, our boy is 10 times stronger than a regular human. If any human were in his position right now, they'd be pasted on the ground. Finally, Sue gets what the old man's trying to tell him, but 500 years? That's too much, so he asks if there is another way. The old man told him that he only has to wait for 6 months because that's when they'll choose a new demon king during the festival, and drop some lore, telling him that 600 years ago, demons could freely roam the human world, scaring people however they wanted, and all the humans could do was to run in fear and be scared of night or rely on some friendly demons who save humans from the malicious ones. So humans had mixed feelings. They either feared demons or worshipped them. But when the current demon king took the throne, he imposed the 500-year rule and forbade demons from freely entering the human world or harming humans. As a result, humans forgot about demons entirely, and they became just folklore that nobody believes in anymore. After 6 months, the current demon king loses his power and that law disappears. Every demon is waiting for this moment so they can roam the human world freely again and bring back that fear humans have forgotten. Gramps tells him he can either wait 6 months or get stronger in his demon form. Still processing everything, our boy asks what the ways are to become stronger and how much stronger he can get compared to other demons. The old man notices the sudden change in his expression and asks what's gotten into him. Standing there, he is thinking about what'll happen if these monsters start roaming the world freely, and man, he's made up his mind he's got to keep these things away from humanity. Our boy's finally thinking straight. He's sure about one thing. Once these demons get to the real world, it's game over for all of humanity. So the least he can do is protect the people who are dear to him. The old man tells him that even though he doesn't have pure goblin power, he still possesses serious strength. If he masters even half of it, there's a good chance he'll be powerful enough that no demon will dare touch his family. But wait, there's more. There's actually a chance for him to become the demon king and create that law again. This catches the attention of the female demon, who's like, there's no way in hell a half-human loser can become the demon king. Gramps finally remembers he needs to introduce her too. Her name is Siwa, and she's also participating in the festival to represent her demon species, and she's like, why bother telling her name? She wasn't interested in making friends. She then asked our boy if he is really going to take the qualification test, adding that if he goes back on his word, she'll get angry. Gramps explains to Sue that she was also in the same boat as him. Despite being younger, she wishes to visit the human world, and she's been bugging him for a long time. Siwa asks him why she needed to take that stupid test in the first place. She is better than most of the demons in transformation magic and in monster force. The old man turns to her and tells her that he knows that, and that is the real reason it's difficult to judge her qualification. To blend in with humans, she has to have patience, and self-control and basic skills won't cut it. Siola told him that she gets what he is saying, but this better not be an excuse of his to get rid of her. The old man laughs and gives her the task of teaching Suwu the foundation of being a demon, including teaching him to camouflage since he was completely human before. If she can teach him all this, he'll approve both their entries into the human world. Seola protests, claiming it's nearly impossible to teach everything about being a demon in just 1 month. The old man told her that if that's the case, she just has to wait 6 months, as the current law won't be applicable then, and she can go to the human world as she wishes. He then gets serious and tells her that it's her decision whether she wants to teach him or not. While he's saying this, a piece of cloth swings through the air and wraps around the old man before he vanishes. He told her that he thinks that it's quite possible to teach Suwu about being a monster. Looking at his vanished form, Selwa asks if Suwu knows anything about demon energy. Our boy answers with a big fat no, but then his expression turns horrified as he sees Big Mouth awakening behind Suwa. Big Mouth claims he'll take Suwu after defeating him this time, but Suwa finds it quite annoying that this monster is using such cheap tactics. She's just standing there all nonchalant while this beast is about to attack. And here's where we get some demon lore, folks. Unlike humans, there are huge power differences between demons because of their unique abilities. Since pure goblins have gone extinct, everyone debates over who would be the most powerful demon in Korea. But Sue is sure that if demons set aside their egos, they definitely agree that nine-tailed demons are the most powerful among them. Damn, she's basically saying, I'm the strongest here, without actually saying it. Sue realizes there's no point in being shocked by every new thing in front of him, so he does the most logical thing and accepts this situation as his new reality. Meanwhile, Seolwa bursts through with light energy and a tail erupts from her back. She starts explaining demon energy to our confused boy, showing off her magical tail and breaking it down for him. She's like, this is demon magic 101 and demons need demon energy to use it. She drops some knowledge on him. There are two types of demon magic, inherent and acquired. Our boy already has inherent magic, which is that goblin wrestling that's literally in his blood, and once he gets the hang of it, he can use it as easily as breathing. As for acquired magic, anyone can use it as long as they learn it, and for that, they have to train. She binds Big Mouth with her chain magic and turns to Suwu. Look at this girl flexing on the monster. She explains that Big Mouth here, who never gained acquired magic and just relied on his big build, is now bound by her simple magic. She clearly tells him she agrees to teach him about the demon world, but she doesn't want her effort to go to waste. So if he's not ready to learn, he better speak up now. Looking at his disappointed face, she adds, and this is brutal, that she might kill him if he turns out to be useless, since it'll be too difficult for him to handle as someone who is just an ordinary human. But our boy's determined. He's ready for her teaching. She smirks at his determination and says even though she thinks he has very little chance of success, she'll take the bet. Then she starts his training with his meal. This confuses him. She explains that he needs demon energy to use magic and every demon has it, but in his case he might have no end. The food he's been eating in the human world can't produce demon energy, which means he only has whatever demon energy he had at birth. In other words, man's probably starving and doesn't even know it. He wants to argue, but suddenly his body starts trembling. She looks at his shaking hands and explains that he didn't have much demon energy to begin with, and he already used it all when he performed that one flip move. Then she gets creepy, reaching toward him and whispering in his ear that it's a rule in the demon world the official battle winner has the right to kill or spare the loser. She darkly tells him to eat Big Mouth to regain his demon energy. That's the simplest and most efficient way to get some power back. Despite looking horrified, Sue steps forward toward Big Mouth like he's being controlled by some force of nature. He feels this overwhelming urge to eat him something he's never felt before. In this moment, nothing's on his mind besides this primal hunger, but the goblin inside him is even hungrier and driven by greed. So instead of going for Big Mouth, our boy turns and rushes toward Seolwa, because as the more powerful demon, she's got the highest quality nutrients that are tempting him even more. She immediately catches him and binds him in chains while scoffing that someone half-human like him had the audacity to try to eat her. She decides to teach him a lesson, but then she's baffled to see him break free from her one-tailed chains. Still trapped in his demon instincts, he tries again to get to Seolwa. She pierces her finger to draw blood, forms a circle with it, and summons a great demon king. A massive fist heads towards Suwu, ready to obliterate him, followed by a lightning strike. She hopes the attack doesn't kill him, but on second thought, she doesn't care at all. After all, he was basically courting death when he chose to attack her, but then the situation was completely different from what she had thought. Her attack pushed him to the point where he awakened an inherent magic that only some goblins have the talent to learn. The horn on his head becomes a symbol of his power as a goblin. And what does our boy do? He tears the horn off his own head and looks at the she-demon with absolutely devilish eyes. Even Seolwa compliments his power even though he's nothing but a half-goblin. He sure has a lot of sides to show to her, and that moment, our boy became the symbol of the goblin race. He turned his horn into a club, ready to face her in an all-out battle. Although our boy was outstanding, Silwa herself is no joke. She's a very talented demon who awakened 9 tails before she was even a century old, and that's why she immediately recognizes the power Suwu just awakened, because the Goblin Club is one of the most dangerous demon weapons that demons haven't seen for hundreds of years. She's analyzing her situation real quick. Although she has way more demon energy than Suwu lacks, his body is surging with this overwhelming power she's never experienced before. Sue is ready to strike her with the Goblin Club's Thunder Strike attack, and she's prepared to counter with her 2 tails ready. She dodges the attack, and her summon hand grabs the Goblin Club. After surviving that first attack, she gets the hang of it and is ready to retaliate. The hand tries to completely take hold of the Goblin Club, but our boy's demon body is too persistent, holding the other edge of the weapon like his life depends on it. She decides to beat him a little longer to make him lose the weapon, but then she witnesses something that absolutely stuns her. Our guy pushes the weapon from the Demon Emperor's hand, and to the shock of the 9-tailed demon, he successfully slides it free. She can't believe he can do that against the Demon Emperor's grip. After one more pull, the weapon finally slides completely out. Then he changes the shape of the Goblin Club at will, and now she understands why goblins are considered the most powerful demons. This is some shape-shifting weapon mastery right here. He shifts the weapon again, this time into the Club of Destruction. Now she's having a hard time countering his attacks because not only has the weapon's shape changed, but its entire way of attacking is transformed too. It's like he switched from a sword build to a hammer build mid-fight. She changes tactics and summons another hand, intending to crush him with both Demon Emperor hands in a powerful strike. But he withstands this open-armed assault from her summons, which frustrates her greatly. She doesn't like how much stronger he's become, especially for a demon who's not only half-blood but also just recently awakened. However, she also notices that regardless of his power, he has very low demon energy reserves. There's a high chance he'll destroy his own body from overexertion. She decides to take matters into her own hands and boosts her energy first with 3 tails, but then decides to go up to 5 tails to defeat Suwu. She remarks that this half-goblin should be proud of himself for pushing her to reveal this much power. With 5 tails worth of energy, she summons the upper half of the Demon Emperor, ready to pound our guy into the ground. The summon attacks him with the 5-gate first attack, which finally lands. Now he's lying on the ground, the land around him completely destroyed, on the verge of losing consciousness. Cialdo walks up to him and tells him that there's a chance he might die soon since his body is exhausted and at its breaking point. This is what happens when someone like Suwu tries to take on someone like her. She's already irritated thinking about the lecture she's going to get from that old man for potentially killing the students she was supposed to teach. But then she looks at him lying there on the verge of breaking down, crying and remembering his mom. Seeing him this pathetic, she can't help but decide to help him. She gets him up and kisses him, which is apparently a way of transferring her demon energy, the one she's been saving for herself. At the end, she grunts, hoping he'll be worth her effort. Later, he's seen waking up in a room, looking at the door. The next moment, Silway enters holding a cup with a very irritated expression on her face. He looks at her nervously. The next moment, our boy is apologizing for all the chaos he just caused. He explains that even though he was fully conscious of his actions, he couldn't control his body. He just points to the drink she brought and tells him to drink it before it gets cold. He immediately tries to gulp it down, thinking it must be some kind of medical herbal tonic. But man, this thing tastes of fuel. He's struggling to swallow it and asks what the hell this is. She casually replies that knowing the ingredients will make it harder for him to swallow. She tells him to take his time as long as he finishes it. Then she points out that he lost Big Mouth since he somehow had a claim on him. The monster went into hiding, fearing Suwu would eat him as soon as he was spotted. It's the perfect form of nutrients for someone like him, but our boy's reluctant and asks for another solution. She chuckles at his naivety because he's no longer human. It's a rule for demons to get stronger by eating others. But he cuts her off, saying that killing and eating others isn't his thing. However, he also adds that there are demons who might hurt people he holds dear, so he might kill and eat if the need arises. With determination in his eyes, he tells her he'll do what he has to do. He explains he wants to know another way to gain power because he's not sure he'll get another chance at a demon. She explains there's a method to eat another demon when there's an official battle between them and the loser gets eaten by the winner. But this rule only applies in duels. Otherwise, weak demons would go extinct. The thing is, after rumors spread that he's a new goblin, weak or easy-to-hunt demons won't want to fight him. Meanwhile, he won't be able to handle stronger demons in his current state. So she got something reserved for him. She orders him to follow her, and there he finds a demon bound by her chains. He asks if it's real, and she answers it's no longer a demon because it gave in to its instincts. It committed crimes that label it more as an animal than a demon. Humans know this species as kobolds. She told him to go feed on it since it's just a beast now. As our boy was still thinking if he wanted to eat that thing or not, he sneaks up behind him without making a sound and attacks him from behind, but he swiftly dodges. Now sitting on the rooftop, she is thinking to herself how our boy acted differently from what she had thought. Instead of freezing and hesitating, he had acted instantly, causing her to think if she had underestimated him, but even she is still not convinced, as all Suwu had managed to do was run around the battlefield, while his opponent, on the other hand, was a famous demon of the Hellhound clan who foolishly kidnapped and ate another demon, causing him to go insane due to imbalanced demon energy. Now this insane demon is trying to get Suo, who doesn't consciously know how to use the demon club yet. It's clear his prey is stronger than him and Suo has no chance of winning, but Suo intentionally does this so he can awaken his demon power, which apparently can only be awakened when he is on the brink of death. But she's shocked the next moment when she sees him fighting using boxing tactics. Sumo dodges the monster's attack and hits him with a solid punch right in the face. And just then, we are hit with a flashback. We see younger Suo in front of his instructor, who praises his natural reflexes for boxing. The instructor even offers him a chance to make a career in it. Suo replies he'll consider it after losing weight, but his instructor tells him not to worry, he'll lose weight if he sticks with boxing. Back in the present, he is kicking that monster's ass using those same boxing skills. To lose weight, Suo had learned a total of 16 sports, 7 of which were fighting sports. Though he'd only learned each sport for a short time before giving up when he didn't lose weight, his athletic goblin body absorbed all the techniques, making him a master of 7 fighting sports. So our chubby gaming boy, who couldn't stick to any sport long enough, actually became a martial arts expert without realizing it. Consequently, he's successfully fighting and beating his opponent, which truly shocks Silwa. Finally, after beating his prey to a pulp, he wonders how the hell he's supposed to eat this thing. Man went from I don't want to hurt anyone to how do I consume this demon in like 5 minutes. Seeing him fight like this, Silwa is convinced he's not strong enough to meet the standard because he wins the fight only using martial arts, which is a human fighting form. Besides, he just awakened but successfully combines his human techniques with his demon body. So sitting there, she's thinking that at least this boy had potential if nothing else when he turns to her and asks for the method of eating it. But she tells him the fight's not over yet. At that moment, his prey attacks him from behind and bites his shoulder. He's totally shocked to see his bleeding shoulder while the monster throws him away using his jaws and is ready to attack him again. Meanwhile, our boy is just standing there panicked, cursing that damn thing, but the monsters didn't care. It closed the gap between them in an instant and sent him flying with a punch. Silwa analyzes his fighting and concludes that his human instincts and fear have kicked in. Humans usually fear losing their limbs during fights. That's why he's panicking. But then he's stunned to see his shoulder intact the next moment. His stomach gets scratched as well, but it heals almost instantly. Seeing this, he understands his demon body has greater durability and remarkable recovery abilities. Now he throws his human instinct for self-protection aside and focuses entirely on the fight. This shift helps him increase his physical strength too. With a swift motion, he punches his opponent far away. Even though his arms feel like they're about to break, he remains standing ready in case his opponent recovers and attacks again. But Silwa says it's over because his powerful punch left his opponent in a weakened state, unable to recover anytime soon. Then she asks how he feels using demon energy without losing control. He's confused to learn he used demon energy. She explains there's no need to use high-level demon energy, for example, what he used to recover from injury. Secondly, the last punch he used was the perfect combination of human physical strength and demon energy. She asks him to pay attention to what he felt while using that punch. He admits he felt a spark of electricity while using it. She explains that's because he doesn't have experience using demon energy, which is why he's struggling to recognize it. That's the reason she made him fight with that beast so he could get the hang of his demon energy. She compliments his talent for using and mastering it in one go, as she initially expected him to complete it within 10 days. She then told him to finish off his prey, as it will help end its misery and pain. She explains the part above the belly button is where the energy crystal is situated and he needs to pierce that part to kill his prey. He slowly heads toward his prey and she understands it'll be difficult for him to do it for the first time. Even for eating purposes, it's difficult for most people to kill anyone. So she knows he'll hesitate, and true enough, for a second, our boy hesitates. But then he thinks about his friend and mother in the human world and finishes that beast in one clean blow. Silwa tells him that he must have caught something in his hand. He opens his fist and finds a crystal ball there. She explains he needs to eat it to consume the demon energy of that demon. He eats it, but nothing happens. He's expecting some kind of spark or transformation. Meanwhile, he notices a crow on his shoulder and gets surprised when it starts talking. It says how this situation is weird, and normally when someone consumes demon energy, there would be an explosion or something. Stuve is all surprised when the crow transforms into a female demon. Silwa asks annoyingly about her purpose for being there since she didn't call for her. The girl complains there shouldn't be any reason for her not to meet her old friend. However, she explains she's here for business. Then she expresses her excitement about seeing the infamous half-goblin. She explains she's doing a part-time job for Gramps and came here for this purpose. She reveals that since Silwa was the one who had caught both of the demons, she deserves a part of the reward, but she declines, saying that Suo was the one that knocked them out, so he is more than qualified to get the reward. The crow girl nods and, getting uncomfortably close to our boy, says that she has been watching him from the start, and that's why she is surprised to see how impressive our boy is, to the point that she can't believe that he was a human up until recently. Turning to Seolwa, she says that if things continue like this, Sue might become a competitor for him, but Seolwa just laughs it off, saying if that happens, he'll be taken down the second he steps foot in the festival. Salmi grins and says that she wonders if that'll happen since Sue has great potential. She then told Sue that he can choose for his reward. Either he can go home this instant or he can take a step forward as a strong monster. The scene shifts and our boy Sue is back in the human world, and his friend Eusen is blowing up his phone like, "Dude, where the hell are you calling from?" But instead of explaining the whole, "Oh hey, I've been chilling in the demon world fighting monsters" thing, Sue asks for a favor. He wants Eusen to tell his mom that he's heading to Andong village, where Eusen's family runs some martial arts centers. And bro had already planned a great excuse. "Mom, I'm just going to lose weight at my friend's dojo." But Eusen reminds him that that place doesn't just accept anybody, and you can tell he's getting suspicious. He's basically saying, "Look man, you can tell me anything, even if it sounds crazy." And right when Sue is about to spill the beans, Soman jumps in, reminding him that's a forbidden topic, my guy. You'll both get in trouble if you start talking about demon stuff. So poor Sue has to make up some lame excuse and hang up on his friend. We get this flashback showing that when Somi first gave him the choice to go home, our boy was actually pumped about it. But then he turns it down. Why? Because fighting the kobold made him realize he's still weak and needs to level up his demon game. Stomi's impressed by this very protagonist-like dialogue, but Sil was over there rolling her eyes like, this is all BS. Turns out it was basically a personality test. You know how humans do those "what type of bread are you?" quizzes? Well, humans apparently do say, "Will you abandon your training to go home?" tests. Then Somi asks Seolwa if she read the book she gave her, and Seol was like, "I couldn't get past page 1. It's too childish." This upsets Somi, especially since she literally wrote that book to help her understand human personalities. She sighs and tells Seolwa that she is free to do whatever she likes and that she is going to borrow Sue for some time. She plans on taking him somewhere for a bit. Somi transforms into her giant crow form. Turns out that Somi is basically an interdimensional Uber driver. She can bring demons to the human world for a day every 6 months. She then tells our boy to brace himself since he might feel nauseated, and grabs him in her talons and flies away while Seolwa watches and leave. Back in the present, Sue returns her phone thanking her for bringing him to the real world, saying due to her, his worries have been alleviated to some extent. She asks if that was it. Should he call a few more friends and want to visit his family in one time before he leaves? But he's like, nah, just got my mom and she's on a business trip anyway. Then our boy offers to cook for her, and when they're eating, she drops that she goes to Hojong School, the one right next to his. She also mentions she doesn't have many close friends, which honestly surprises Sue because she seems like the type who'd have a whole squad following her around after they finish the meal. She compliments our boy's cooking skills, and then she gives him this storage scroll that works like a smartphone and backpack hybrid. It's basically an interdimensional fanny pack, which sounds incredibly useful. Inside there are 40 demon coins, his own storage scroll, and something called a demon treasure bead that's loaded with demon energy that can display various abilities by imbuing monster force in it like in the old folk tales. She adds that typically they only give out the demon coins as a reward, but Gramps had especially told her to give him the other things, which means Gramps has high hopes for our boy. Sue asks if her high hopes probably mean for the festival to pick the king of the monster. Somi nods and tells him that although they aren't as foolish as humans and don't follow most of the human rules, they do feel a sense of belonging towards their region, so they want a Korean demon king representing them, and apparently the last Korean candidate almost beat the current king by a hair. And guess what? That guy was also a goblin. So now everyone's probably placing bets on our boy Sue, like he's some kind of supernatural racehorse. The funny part is Sue didn't even know there was a goblin until yesterday, and now people are expecting him to become demon royalty. He told her that everything feels like a dream and he really wishes to wake up from it if possible. Somi gets surprised by what he said because our boy was adapting to his new reality, saying that if he was afraid, the monsters would threaten the human existence, and if he really wants to protect humans, he might as well become king and keep the current laws that protect them. Sue points to the scroll beside her and tells her that it has been flashing like crazy for some time, wanting to know if that is normal. Somi brushes it off, saying it's just an emergency summon for when demons break the law in the human world. She's like, don't worry, that never happens, but then she stops mid-sentence, realizing that it truly was an emergency summon as she panics. Later that night, Sue is back home checking out his new demon rewards, trying to figure out how the hell to use any of this stuff. After messing around with the scroll for a bit, he puts on that demon bead item, wondering if it's going to work for offense or defense. He decides he'll just ask Somi when she gets back, but when he checks the time, man, only a few minutes are left before they're supposed to head back to the demon world. They'd arrived in the human world at 4 p.m., and at 6 she'd left for some emergency summons. Before she took off, she even asked him to call her by her name since they're friends now. But now it's past 10 p.m., and our boy's starting to get worried. He's kicking himself for not getting her number like an idiot. While he's sitting there waiting, he starts looking at this picture of his father and puts two and two together. The goblin blood probably comes from his dad's side since the guy was an athlete and all. Plus, he remembers Gramps telling him that he's already 4th or 5th generation with very little goblin blood left. Meanwhile, way across town from his house, there's this demon chasing after some poor human and about to finish him off when Shaman arrives just in time. She shoots a spell at the thing to stop it, but she's worried about losing all her feathers since there are so many of these lower demons crawling around everywhere. She rushes over to the human trying to console him, telling the guy that his friend's going to be okay since she's been treating him as she has already called for an ambulance. But of course, another demon appears right behind her. Someone eliminates that demon while giving Somi grief, commenting that her soul clan would be totally ashamed if she got taken down by such weak lower demons. She nervously tells him that her clan doesn't have those kinds of high expectations like his does, and besides, she knows he's got her back like a big brother. But this guy's quick to say he doesn't prefer seeing her like a sister, and then gets back to handling business. He hypnotizes the human and plants fake memories of the whole incident. Somi's genuinely impressed by his inheritance magic and tells him how she wanted to learn herself. She can beg Sulwa to teach her, but it was so damn difficult that she just gave up. He asks how many demons she's encountered so far, and she tells him 24 of them, and the strange thing was that all of them were kobolds with leashes on them. It seemed like someone else was controlling them like puppets. She adds that 7 humans got killed and many more were injured, but the demons knew it was a crime. So what kind of fun could they possibly get from doing something like this? But he doesn't agree with her reasoning. He says someone's doing this not for fun, but for some kind of advantage. She doesn't get what advantage a demon could possibly get from killing humans, which is when he drops some serious knowledge on her. He explains that their generation doesn't know this stuff, but humans are actually a great source of nutrients for demons. That's why demons used to hunt them back in ancient times. Man, we're basically like energy drinks to them. She's got this baffled expression on her face, saying she's never heard about any of this before. He tells her that's because if anyone actually knew about this, the human world wouldn't be peaceful at all, so the information wasn't passed down to the next generation. Not only that, but they created this ridiculously difficult exam specifically to protect the human world. Most demons think the human world is nothing but boring anyway and aren't interested in going there as long as the law is maintained. But now things are changing because of this coming festival. Demons are getting desperate to become stronger, and they're not hesitating to break the law to do it. Recently, there have been tons of cases where demons have basically destroyed themselves trying to get stronger or prove themselves worthy. She's listening to all this with this horrified look on her face, and he even adds his own twisted methodology. If he were doing something like this, he'd prefer a silent approach instead of using kobolds he can't even control properly. For example, he'd quietly kidnap humans and feed on them to avoid drawing any attention to himself. She comments that whoever's behind this whole thing must be a coward to attack defenseless humans like that. But he retorts that if this person can control dozens of demons at once, then they must be strong enough to attack humans by themselves anyway. She's about to say they shouldn't be acting like attention-seeking cowards, but stops mid-sentence when she suddenly remembers what time it is. Then she flies away from there, apologizing to her companion. Meanwhile, back at home, Suwu senses someone around and goes out to the balcony to check his suspicion. He doesn't remember opening the balcony door at all and wonders who the hell did it. He's about to go back inside when someone shows up right behind him, thinking he must be easy prey. But when this person's about to attack Suwu, his reflexes kick in and he dodges the attack without even seeing it coming. He immediately jumps up and stands on the railing, saving himself from the attack. The person attacking him is shocked to see that Suwu knows goblin wrestling techniques. He mutters how his heart was about to leap off of his chest. He didn't want to acknowledge it, but now he is a goblin, and one of a goblin's characteristics is that they never fall for the same trick twice. His instinct gives him the same chill he felt when he got bitten from behind earlier, and he hurls his enemy away. While looking outside, he's hoping no humans got hurt because of his little stunt. But then he feels that chill again, and this time his enemy grabs his neck with what turns out to be a snake tail. The guy tells him casually that he put everyone in the building to sleep because it would be problematic if humans started panicking around him. He leaps at Suwu while commenting that he's pretty powerful for a demon who hasn't even developed his demon energy yet, all thanks to those goblin genes. Then this snake dude throws him straight down to the floor while making some casual observation that the floor must be weakened from his earlier fall, so now humans will just blame it on some accident. He even remarks that Suwu should be dead by now considering he gave him a fair chance. Meanwhile, our boy's putting 2 and 2 together and realizes that this whole mess Somi's been dealing with is probably caused by this same demon. The snake tells him to just die by his hand since he's going to do him a favor with a mercy killing after all. He's at a much higher level than Suwu. And just to toy with our boy, he asks him if he should give him one chance and tells Suwu to just get eaten by him without uttering a word, and if he does that, he will spare his mother. This bastard really crosses the line by pulling out Suwu's mother into the picture. You don't threaten a guy's mom, that's like rule number 1 of not getting your ass kicked. This infuriates Suwu, who rushes at this snakeskin creep and is about to flip him with some goblin wrestling, but he stops mid-motion. Turns out the enemy had a trick up his sleeve. He paralyzed him with some poison ability. This guy explains it's his inheritance ability, where he has to touch his opponent to poison them. He starts babbling about how the goblin bloodlines don't need this trickery since they can petrify enemies with just a look. According to the rules of this world, he says he had to be eaten by stronger beings since he's at the bottom of the food chain. Plus, he didn't even know how to use that weapon on Suu's arm either. Then this creep turns into his full snake form and is about to devour a boy, but Suu can barely move, so he decides to use this to his advantage somehow. He manages to use his weapon and attacks the snake demon with it, but gets pushed away just in time. The snake man immediately notices the attack and dodges it just in time so he won't be served as today's dinner. He then counters immediately with a tail whip, sending Suu flying into the wall while his enemies actually complimenting his skill for pulling off an attack even while being poisoned. Suddenly, the snake man notices a small wooden sword stuck in him. Another character appears wearing a mask and starts chanting some kind of mantra to attack the snake dude. Lightning surges through the snake man, who screams in pain, and this masked person reminds him that their night hasn't come yet, but here he is breaking the law. The snake man realizes this person is none other than a human exorcist. Meanwhile, he's thinking he needs to end this as fast as possible since this guy seems dangerous. Not only that, but things would just get messier and messier if Somi and her companion arrived, against whom he's apparently no match. So he unleashes his strongest spirit that he'd been saving for the festival, but now he needs it just to survive. His plan is to keep the shaman busy fighting the kobold while he finishes off Suu. But this shaman is seriously strong, folks, like minor god level strong. When he was alive, he controlled the west portion of the demon realm. So this bastard's plan was to busy the mysterious figure with his pet while he takes care of Suu. And just like he had planned, the masked man and the demon start attacking each other. The masked guy moved with an incredible speed, and before the demon spirit could even attack him, he finished it off and thrust his sword in the creepy guy's head, and all of that happened in an instant. Then he turns to Suu and asks what his reason is for being there since he doesn't feel like a partner of the snake man. Our boy says that he could ask the same question, but he had recognized the masked guy's identity. Just by his voice, it turns out this masked dude was none other than its Eusen. Eusen was surprised to recognize his friend in this messed up state and wanted to ask like a million questions, and Suu hit him with, "Hey dude, it's a long story." Eusen drops that mask and rushes over to Suu, asking how the hell he got mixed up in monster business. But our boy Suu is over here like, "Hold up with the questions, bro, I can't breathe right now." Eusen remembers this isn't just your regular poison, it's that fancy poisonous demon ability stuff, so he can't just slap a band-aid on it and call it a day. But then something weird happens. The poison mark starts fading from Suu's body, and he's actually recovering on his own. After Suu explains everything that went down, Eusen is not exactly thrilled to find out his buddy's half-goblin. It's like everything he believed turned out to be a lie kind of situation. Suu asks him if this was the reason he couldn't speak and what kind of training center his house was. Eusen nods, saying, "If I had said something, you'd think I'm completely mental." He then lets out a sigh and says how all of this would be settled in 6 months. Suu was surprised to see that Eusen knew about the festival. He then asks him if the demon running rampant situation was always normal. Turns out demons don't usually mess with humans that much. It's been pretty chill for the last century, but lately it's been changing with the festival around the corner. Humans are basically premium demon snacks now, and people have been disappearing left and right from different regions. The cops find blood splattered everywhere and major damage, but no solid proof it's demons doing the dirty work. But this is actually the first time they've encountered a real demon face to face. Then a light appears out of nowhere, and it's Somi apologizing for being late. But Eusen's not having any of it. He pulls out his sword and immediately goes into full threat mode, telling her to back the hell off or she's going to catch these hands. Suu tries to explain that, "Chill, man, she's cool. She's with me." But Eusen tells him to stay back as the person in front of them isn't a human. It's a monster. He could somewhat tell that she was one of those law-abiding types, and that's why she wasn't killing him instantly. Suu tries to tell him that she was her friend and had brought him to the human world, but Eusen isn't buying it. He calls Suu a fool and tells him that he doesn't understand anything. These things are monsters, even if they look like humans on the outside. Inside, all of their nature is the same. These demons view humans as happy meals with legs and nothing else. Clutching his sword, he told Suu that even though his blood is mixed with the monsters, he is still a human and Earth is his home, so he doesn't need permission from anyone, saying no matter what happened in the demon realm, he can't let him go. And Somi is freaking out because first she can't understand what this was going on and on about, but the real problem was that Suu had been registered in the monster system now, so if he breaks that contract, it's going to be bad news for everyone involved. She's thinking maybe she should just drag him to the demon realm by herself. Somi decides she's going to fight Eusen to take Suu, but she's looking at this Eusen's crazy powerful aura and she knows that she is no match for him, but then she remembers that she's Suu's guardian, so there's no choice here for her. Seeing that she isn't backing down, Eusen was ready to throw hands when Suu pushed his friend back, making him drop his sword. He picks it up and notices some strange engravings on it. Eusen's first thought is demon mind control activated, but nah, he doesn't sense that kind of sketchy aura coming from his friend. Stu then looks at him and says that he was right when he said that monsters were a despicable kind who would eat their own kind for power, and he had already done it, and he'll continue to do so if that means that he can protect his loved ones. Eusen tries to convince him that he's powerful enough to protect both Sue and his mother for the next 6 months, but our guy cuts him off with the wildest statement ever. And then our boy drops the absolute bombshell that he's going to be the next Demon King. Standing there, Eusen's probably thinking, my friend's completely lost his damn mind, but Sao admits he doesn't know much about what that means, just that he's got a shot at it, and maybe he can stop the human world from turning into a complete nightmare. Seeing that this bastard wasn't going to back down, Eusen finally gives in and says he doesn't have the right to make decisions for him, but remind him that if he crosses the line as a demon, I'm putting him down myself. Then he puts his mask back on, apologizes for interfering in their business, but adds that if anyone breaks demon law and hurts or murders his friend, he's going full John Wick mode on the entire demon world. After he leaves, Somi straight up collapses like, holy crap, that was absolutely terrifying. It was her first time meeting a shaman. She asks Sue if all of them were this scary, but then Goyu shows up explaining that Eusen's the special kind of terrifying. Not all shamans are like that. Somi asks him if he had come to help her. Goyu explains that he had come because Somi charged in without knowing what kind of enemy she was facing, and because of her careless attitude, things could go south very easily. Then he drops some demon world hierarchy knowledge on us. You got your basic bestial demons in animal forms at the bottom, your higher class mythical creature demons in the middle like nine-tailed foxes, and at the top you got the divine demons that people used to worship back in ancient times. And finally, Goyu introduces himself as Su's opponent in the upcoming festival, representing the Black Tortoise clan, extending his hand like, nice to meet you, I'm going to try to beat you up later. Our boy's about to shake Goyu's hand, but someone warns him not to make contact, and then starts going off on Goyu like, dude, Su's already messed up and you're gonna make it worse. But Goyu's over here like, do I look like I care? He grabs Su's hand anyway, commenting that it's pretty entertaining to hear this kid claim he's going to be the next Demon King. Then this guy bites his thumb to activate some magic called Shrinking Earth. Next thing you know, they're in a completely different space and our boy's struggling to stay upright. Goyu's actually impressed, saying not many people can stand up when they're yanked through dimensions for the first time, especially when it's a surprise trip. But looking at Su's face, he notices this kid's not even surprised. No wide eyes, no what the hell just happened moment. Our dude gets straight to business and seriously asks, did you bring me here to eat me? Goyu just shrugs, and then he switches topics completely and asks if Su plays video games. Su explains he used to play back in middle school but stopped when high school hit. When asked about his favorite genre, our boy's got some strong opinions. He's not into online games because they're all about selling items. The man's calling out the pay-to-win nonsense that ruins gaming. Sticks to action RPG games instead, which gets Goyu's seal of approval. But then he flips the switch and attacks Su out of nowhere. Our boy swiftly dodges it though, and Goyu's looking at him like interesting. He notices that Su immediately assumed they were going to fight and dodge with that exact mindset. This impresses our turtle demon. He's thinking this guy's actually got some serious potential. Man, what do you know? Stu's learning ability is absolutely peak right now after all these fights. He's like a video game character that actually levels up from experience. All those battles are paying off. He's become super cautious after that snake man tricked him earlier. He is not falling for obvious tricks and trusting things at face value. He's learned how to use the destroyer's armor on his arm, which basically releases demon energy and power when activated. It's like unlocking a new skill tree in RPG, except this one can actually kill you if you mess up. After attacking his new opponent, he stays on guard because he's learned the hard way that you don't drop your defense until the fight's completely over. The demon energy thing is new to him, but he's getting the hang of it. He can feel it coming from his stomach and surging through his whole body. Our boy's keeping track of his energy usage. He's down to 60% after using 10% on a big attack and 3% on smaller ones. He's reminding himself to use demon energy carefully so he doesn't end up completely drained by him. Meanwhile, Goyu's praising his power, which pushes him to bust out the icicles. He comments on how Su had messed up by the second they had started, though this bastard had attacked our boy out of nowhere, but despite all these constant attacks, he's not sensing any malicious intent from him. Goyu notices he's been caught and admits he's terrible at faking bloodlust. He explains that he doesn't actually have any bad intentions bringing him here. He did it because he heard Su's claim about becoming Demon King and got curious about this half-goblin kid. Then he asks what Su thinks the Demon King actually is. Su looks at him and says, isn't it obvious, dumbass? Someone who rules the demon realm. But Goyu drops some knowledge that changes everything about demon politics. He told him that demons don't even think about the king as someone who rules and makes laws for the next 666 years. Instead, they choose someone based purely on fighting skills. Demons follow the simple rule of the strongest fighter becomes king. These guys are basically slaves to their desires, so it doesn't make sense for them to follow the rules even if they were made by someone stronger than them. So to stop demons from just killing each other constantly and going extinct, they came up with this system as a safety measure. He told our boy that over thousands of years, the Demon King has had the responsibility to mediate the demon's survival, and every Demon King has done his job except the current one. He asked our boy to imagine if the human king suddenly banned everyone from eating meat to get nutrients. Sue agrees that no one would follow it, and there'd be complete chaos against the king. But demons have perfectly followed this ridiculous law for 666 years straight. Despite their demon nature, they're following this tradition because the Demon King is powerful enough to enforce it, but their patience is definitely on the edge. Stu realizes they won't handle it well if the new king makes such a law again. Goyu agrees, pointing out that no matter how powerful the Demon King is compared to individual demons, he's still outnumbered by the entire demon population. If they decide not to follow him, not only will his authority be challenged, but the whole system will crumble. So maybe Sue shouldn't go around claiming he'll be the next Demon King while planning to maintain that law. He warns Sue that if he keeps acting like a stupid, he'll soon end up dead, as not all of them are as nice as Somi. Sue asks him where exactly he is going with all this. Then Goyu makes an offer. If Sue joins his cause, he'll let him rule Korea when he becomes Demon King. He still won't be able to ban demons from eating humans entirely, but this way he can ensure his loved ones stay safe. Sue asks how much stronger Goyu is to have such confidence in becoming the next Demon King. Goyu admits he might not be the strongest in Korea, but he's definitely strong enough to participate in the festival. After hearing this, Sue extends his hand to accept the offer. Goyu's glad to hear this and meets his hand, but then gets completely shocked because our boy just hit him with a demon energy attack through the handshake. Sue's instinct for goblin wrestling is on a different level now. He used almost all his remaining energy in this one attack, and he didn't do it on instinct, but consciously. Then he attacks Goyu again with his goblin wrestling, showing steel determination and resolve. After a while, when the dust settles, we can see him clearly shaking after using almost all of his demon energy. Now he doesn't have any source of recovering his energy and stamina, so there's no chance he can continue this fight anymore in this state. Goyu is now in front of him, praising his combat skill as he skillfully held his intent while attacking him. Then he uses his inheritance energy, which is Arctic frost freezing and controlling the water around him, and using it at his command to attack the enemy. Goyu then asks for his last words. Sue tells him that he doesn't have any intention of sharing his will with his enemy. Besides, Goyu had tried to kill and eat him, so he deserves the same treatment. With that, our boy stood up and told him that he's getting ahead of himself because this fight is far from over. Goyu observes this, eyeing our boy and wondering if he's determined how to find an opening in his attack. Somehow, our boy has awakened the combatant skills of the goblin. It looks like Goyu is about to attack him while saying that Sue is talking big for someone on the verge of losing consciousness. Suddenly, he tells him that our guy has passed some kind of test, flashing our boy this big smile. He told him that he's going to support him, and he doesn't want to do it for someone who doesn't deserve it at all. Sue doesn't understand what he is saying at all. Goyu explains that everyone is looking forward to the Demon King Festival, but he personally doesn't really want the Night of Monsters. He explains that he doesn't like the devious nature of demons who eat and fight each other, compared to the peace in the human world. He also expresses that he's one of those demons who likes how humans create mundane and useless things like books and comics, which don't exist in the demon realm. He doesn't want the human world to be affected, as these things won't exist due to demon interference. Looking at him, Sue notices that he's saying there's a chance there are others with the same ideology as him and Somi as well. Meanwhile, he asks whether it's a good enough reason to support him, as he can become a Demon King himself, to which he replies with a deadpan expression that being the Demon King is a bother and he doesn't want to. He told Sue that the Korean peninsula has the highest chance of winning the festival because almost every candidate comes from the old clans with rich history, so the talented ones will be handed the inherited magic generation by generation. It's the same way someone is born with a golden spoon in the human world. Basically, there's great stratification from the clans to become a Demon King and favor their clan. If they find someone's talent, and if that talented person doesn't do it, they will kill him and replace him with another representative. Our guy feels sad at the cruelty of the clan system. Unfazed by his emotions, Goyu tells him that he has a great chance to become a Demon King since he has the motive and power to become one without the pressure of any clan. At that, our boy tries to tell him to hold his courses as he needs a minute to think it over. The next moment, a very angry Somi appears and proceeds to kick his butt. Our boy is too baffled by the situation and tries to explain it to her. However, she tells him that it won't put a scratch on Goyu and there is a high chance that he is already dipped. Sue doesn't understand what she's saying. She explains that this person is not the real Goyu as he has a split personality. Basically, the black tortoise is a combination of a snake and a tortoise. First it was a tortoise, then someone found a way to separate the yin and yang energies. With the help of the yin energy, they created the black tortoise. Afterward, that generation passed down the power and the training required to become a complete black tortoise. But this clan had a side effect called the snake, which was the personality of Goyu that Suwoo had witnessed minutes before. Suwoo is like, it's not like Goyu seems like a totally evil dude, and Sama agrees with him, saying that even though he's mischievous and selfish, he's not rotten to the core. Then she drops some serious lore. She explains that the snake is supposed to be the submissive part of the black tortoise, kind of like the chill advisor to the main tortoise personality. But Goyu? Nah, this dude's a rare case. His snake side has been active since he was born and can just hijack his body whenever it wants. That's why a bunch of demons threw a fit when he became the clan's representative, but they couldn't do anything because the guy is hella strong. Then she asks him if he has packed everything since it's time to head back. Seeing his face all loose, she's like, dude, you're not going to get punished for being late. But he explains that's not it. He's stressing about the veranda since he'll be gone for a month. When his mom gets back, she's going to be worried sick about it. Just then, Gramps pops out of nowhere saying that he doesn't have to be worried about that since they have demons to take care of messes like these. Then he tells Somi to head first because he wants a private chat with Suwoo. Somi, meanwhile, totally misunderstands the situation and starts explaining it wasn't Suwoo's fault they were late. Gramps nods, saying that he knows and it's something else that they want to talk about. That's when Solwa's voice cuts in. He turns, sees her there, and asks how the hell she got there, asking her if she came on her own. She hits him with this arrogant answer, saying she's not the type to rely on someone else to get to the human world, and then, turning to Gramps, she said she was dragged here by him. He tells them they just found 50 kobolds attacking humans in the southeast of Seoul. While they were cleaning up, they realized the tracks they left were way too obvious, like they were left on purpose. They figure it has to be a trick to draw their attention while the real mastermind makes a move on Suwoo. But that's not it. With a dead serious look on his face, he tells them that around 200 humans have been straight up kidnapped from Seoul, making this whole thing way bigger than just targeting Suwoo. He adds that 200 is just the number of people reported to the cops, and the real number could be as high as 500. Somi adds that there must be at least 5 demons involved in this, and they can probably track them with their suspect list, but he cuts her off, explaining that according to their intel, these demons aren't from around here. They're from outside of Korea. They probably got busted in their own country, so they decided to target Korean people instead. Therefore, they need to catch these culprits and punish them, and he needs their help to do it. Selwa immediately gets what he's about to say. Gramps explains that, yeah, he was supposed to give them a qualification test to enter the human world in a month, but because of this whole disaster, the test is happening now. Their mission, should they choose to accept it, track down and eliminate every last demon involved in the kidnappings. So the scene shifts over to Eusen, and man, this dude looks like he hasn't slept in a week. He's still totally worried about our boy, wondering if he did the right thing leaving that dumbass on his own. He's even starting to cook up a new plan to go rescue him. But his thoughts get cut short by the exact guy he's been thinking about. Our boy shows up all nervous, telling him his phone was off, so he came to find him. After a bit, they're sitting in a cafe. Sue explains everything that went down last night and the crazy task they have to do for their qualification test. Eusen just loses it, trying to explain how insane this whole idea is, but Sue is actually happy about it, saying this is his chance to live in the human world. Eusen does not look happy about it at all. He asks Sue what class of demon he is. Sue's got no clue, saying he just became a demon a few days ago. So starts explaining to him the basic there are 5 classes: Divine, Spirit, Mystic, Fiend, and Beast. At first, Sue thinks these are just names, but it's not that simple, folks. Beasts are at the bottom like animals in the human world. There are a ton of them, and they're easy targets that even normal humans can take down. The next class, Fiends, are way stronger. You need hundreds of people to take one down because they're just that tough. Sue's getting pretty tense. Hearing all this, he asks if the bottom 2 demons are that strong, then what about the rest? Eusen says that even though he's not the most experienced shaman, he knows a mystic demon can destroy a whole small city by itself. As for spirit and divine demons, they're so powerful they can't even mess with the laws of the world after filling him in on the basics. Eusen is basically begging him to stay out of it, telling him that even if he ever runs into them, he should just run and hide and pray that they haven't noticed him. Coming back to the topic, he says if these demons are from outside Korea, they're probably ready to fight other demons and shamans like him. In other words, they're dealing with at least mystic-level demons. Sue asks what class the demon from yesterday was. Eusen figures it must have been at least a fiend class. As for the demon he was controlling, he was far stronger than the snake dude. He adds that if the snake guy was on the level of the kobold, he could have easily taken down both him and Suwoo. Then he points to Suwoo and says that his strength is somewhat equal to a fiend class himself, so he should just stay away from this whole mess, since him being a goblin won't help him if he were to encounter someone stronger than him. In his mind, he knows that he is being harsh, but he also knows how big of a moron our boy is, so he tries to double down. But Suwoo, this idiot, he says that he can do it even though he failed yesterday. Eusen just sighs, thinking to himself how this idiot is doing exactly what he didn't want him to do, and then he gets up and Suwoo asks him if he's going to the school. Eusen just sighs that they're not going to school. Instead, he's going to give him a lesson today. Eusen leads him to the basement of the Olympic Stadium. Sue assumes his family built it, but Eusen corrects him, saying it's the government's work since there are plenty of other shaman and mage families around. Sugu wonders if they know about the demons and the danger coming their way. His friend says that's not it. Instead, shamans have always worked for the government since way back in the day. It seems like fighting demons used to be a huge business, so it might have even been shamans who built the country. But 666 years ago, the royal family at the time created an agency to train young shamans, and his family has been working for them ever since. He adds that only a few big shots in the government know the truth about demons, but he doesn't think they're taking it seriously. Then he takes off his blazer and gets ready to fight. He told him to come and end with everything he's got, no rules or restrictions. If he can take him down, he won't stop him from doing whatever he wants. On the other hand, our guy doesn't seem too excited about it and asks if he's not going to use his sword. Eusen answers that the sword makes him powerful. Yeah, but he can take down a fiend demon with his bare hands. If our guy isn't stronger than a fiend, he won't be able to beat him. That's the whole point of the fight. He hadn't told our boy to come at him. With a hesitant and trembling hand, he charges at his shaman friend, who in the blink of an eye had covered all the distance and knocks him down. After hitting him so hard, Eusen isn't even asking if his friend's okay because he knows his demon genes will heal him up quick. For that reason, he's not holding back his punches. Then he looks at our boy, who's still standing, and chuckles, commenting on how his friend looks like a hero from a comic book. At the same time, Eusen realizes his own fist is hurt from punching his demon friend like he just hit a rock. If he didn't charge it with energy, it would have been crushed. At this moment, both of them realize how powerful the other one is. That's why our guy decides not to hold back. Stu charges at his friend again. Eusen notices he's faster than before, but his fighting style is the same. Our guy grabs his friend's wrist to flip him, but Eusen stands his ground and hits him with a knee to the face. At the same time, Su manages to summon his goblin club, which stuns his friend too, since it's the first time he's ever done it on his own. So now that our boy manages to summon his goblin club, which is sick by the way, you would think that he can easily win. Well, not exactly, because at this point his overall condition is close to being bad because of last night's fight, and the fact that he can't generate the monster force easily in the human world. This means he's basically running on empty. The only good thing about this situation is that he remembers how he used the club last time, so he at least knows how to swing the thing. On the other side, Eusen is looking at this goblin club and he is not impressed. He's read all about how great it's supposed to be, so he's thinking either the books were exaggerating or his friend's club is just a weak version. He decides it's the second one. But the next moment, Su attacks him with everything he's got. Eusen just protects himself with his energy. His plan is simple. Just stay on defense and let Su tire himself out. But then he's totally shocked when Su changes the shape of his club, with one part stuck to the wall like a chain and the other in his hand. Eusen asks him what his plan is, and Su gets this victorious look on his face, saying he knows he can't win in a close-up fight, so he's trying something else. He remembers the last goblin club was super powerful, but since he can't summon that one, he's going to use the shape-shifting ability of this weapon. He whips it at his friend, who barely dodges the attack. He even yells that Su is using a cheap trick. Our guy just answers that Eusen is the one who asked for this test to see if he could hold his own against a demon. If his life is on the line, he'll use whatever it takes, even cheap tricks. For a second, Eusen feels like he's cornered because the dude was actually making sense, and that pisses off Eusen, and because our boy was feeling smug, he told him that if Eusen can't handle this much, then this means that he is lacking, and let me tell you, no one wants to get looked down on by a dumbass, so Eusen just flares up and tells him that now he is not going to hold back. Sumu charges at his friend again, who's dodging all his attacks with his speed. But with each attack, Sumu starts to get used to the pattern. Then suddenly, it feels like his attack finally connects. Our guy gets worried and asks if his friend is okay. But the next moment, Eusen is holding the edge of his club perfectly, chanting some kind of mantra at him. Then he shoots an arrow right at him, cutting his club in half. But our boy is quick and gets a grip on his broken club again. On the other hand, Eusen is at a huge disadvantage without his shaman tools. It means he can't use his really powerful spells against his friend. Besides, he can't control his spells right without a tool, so he does what he can. He creates his spirit sword using his shaman energy and dashes forward. The next moment, their weapons clash and Su's weapon is broken, and our boy had not expected that. Eusen is also holding back to avoid hurting his friend, but Su stays persistent, and in the end, he punches his friend hard, knocking him to the ground. Knowing that landing a hit on him wasn't so easy, he asks Eusen why he went easy on him in the end, adding that he could have used the sword since he can regenerate, so it wasn't that big of a deal. His friend answers that he wasn't holding back. He had created the best demon sword he could. It was strong enough to break his goblin club and could easily kill a fiend-class demon. The only reason our boy was still standing was that damn sword, which judged him to be a human and not a monster. The scene changes to Eusen with a bandage on his nose while our boy is being stupid, which annoys his friend. Stu asks about his nose and whether it'll leave a scar. Eusen answers that he's gone through difficult training so it won't leave a scar and will heal in a day. Besides, he knows our boy held back when punching him. If he had punched him with all his might, it would have crushed his nose. Now that he has realized that our boy is strong, he gives him permission to do whatever he wants. Our boy thanks him for understanding. Eusen clarifies that he is not being understanding. He is only allowing him because of the deal they made. Then he extends some gourd bottles to him. Eusen explains that these are a kind of bomb he can use in emergencies. He teaches him how to use it and adds that given his power, just holding them is enough to make them explode. He warns him not to use more than one simultaneously, even if the situation demands it. Seeing them, Sabu hesitates to take the gourds as he can sense an immense amount of energy coming from them, meaning they must be difficult to make. His friend asks whether he's seen something like this before. He answers no, adding that he can feel the same shaman energy he sensed coming from Eusen during their fight. And our boy was right. These gourds were a special tool that was mainly used by Eusen's family. It was extremely hard and time-consuming to make one by storing one's energy after that. These tools are powerful and meant only for emergencies, and anyone possessing them can use shaman spells. One of the main purposes of the gourd was to seal one's energy, so when Su sensed Eugen's energy, it surprised him that his friend could sense the energy from the gourds even though they're sealed. He then asks Su to give him his hand. What he's doing is palm reading. Eusen knows he can read one thing from his friend's palm, which is his spiritual energy. He's shocked to read that Su has a natural talent to become a shaman. Seeing this, his mind starts reeling at the possibilities of making his friend a shaman. He first regrets that if Su wasn't a demon, he could ask his father to train him. But then a new idea comes to his mind whether he should ask his father to take him as his disciple since Su is still half human. Then he rejects this idea as well because there are people who won't see this kindly. Even if Su wasn't his friend, they won't look kindly on a goblin who has the potential to become a shaman. Seeing his confused expression, Eusen tells him that he has a tough life ahead of him, which makes our guy wonder whether Eusen can read it through his palm. Then he changes the topic and asks Su when he's going to come back to school, and now our boy was facing a new problem as his old clothes won't fit him, as everything is shrunk after he gained muscles instead of fat. Meanwhile, Eusen was looking forward to seeing everyone's reaction, saying that everyone is going to go crazy to see his new look. Our guy doesn't look happy about that despite his friend looking forward to it. Then he checks the time and it's already lunchtime. Su offers to treat him, but Eusen insists he goes to Su's place as he made wonderful fried rice last time. Our boy awkwardly tells him that he has a guest at his home. Besides, he needs to go somewhere after lunchtime. Sensing his awkwardness, Eusen assures him that he doesn't need to be so cautious, reassuring him that he's not going to meddle with demon business. So he decides to make plans for lunch some other time and steps ahead. He stops for a moment and tells our guy that he hasn't done anything wrong, so he should walk with his head high and have confidence in himself. After a while, our boy is standing in the old neighborhood, finding a certain location and wondering if he's at the right place or not. Then he reads a Chinese house nameplate. The next moment, a man opens the door and our boy immediately recognizes him as a strong demon. He steps past him and finds a woman standing at the door who welcomes him as the vice head of the Yang Hoi house. He introduces himself and mentions that the old man had sent him there. She asks him to go inside as they already knew that he was coming. When he goes inside, he feels like a dark cloud is looming over the place. When they enter, he's shocked to find Chinese-style houses there. He settles himself down in front of his host and asks about his suspicions, wondering if they're not in Seoul. He can feel that the air is fresh, unlike the air of the city. She confirms it by saying that it's the rising dark moon quarter, which is a separate space from the city, and that's why the air is fresh. She informs him that their main purpose is to serve as a store for the demons living in the human world while helping them adjust there. Su remembers what Gramps had told him. Then he summons his storage scroll, shows her his money, and asks whether he can buy things with this currency. She answers yes while adding that they also work with exchanges. He shows his confusion about it, and she explains that they can also exchange monster currency for human currency. Recently, one monster coin can be exchanged for 3 million won. When he calculates the amount he'll get for his monster coin, his jaw nearly drops. He suddenly realizes that he is rich, like Richie Rich Rich. Then she shows him a monster pill, which is a kind of medicine made for monsters to acquire their demon energy, something that's quite different from how it's acquired in the natural human environment. He decides to purchase some as he needs demon energy so much. Then he notices that they're available in different colors, so he asks her whether it's because they have different efficiencies. She tells him that's the case. The golden and silver demon energy pills cost the most compared to the black ones due to their effectiveness in consumption. She recommends him to try the black one if he wants recovery now. He decides to take the black one, as she told him that if he takes one right now, he'll recover by tonight. However, in her mind, she thinks that he won't be able to digest even the black one because it totally depends on the absorption rate of the monster core, which expands as the demon gets older and consumes other demons. But in the case of our guy, it's difficult for him to digest it because being a half demon, it will take him 2 to 3 days to digest half of the black pill, and the remainder will be discharged from his body, unlike any high-class demon. Though in her mind, she tells herself that she isn't lying or anything. If he's able to take part of that black pill, he can recover his insufficient demon energy by tonight. The next moment he takes the pill, and there's a blazing light in front of his host, who is surprised to see that this is the extent of the monster force he had absorbed. He had digested the pill in just a few seconds while burning with demon energy. It's the first time he feels more than 100% of his demon energy. The scene shifts to what had happened in the rising Dark Moon Quarter, and folks, we've got the leader Dang Wu playing bartender to some demon. But this entitled bastard isn't interested in the drinks, nah. He wants to see Hongryun serving him instead. Four Eyes tells him she'll show up after she's done dealing with some guy the bogeymen sent over. But man, this demon's ego is so fragile he can't handle that someone more important than him is in the building. He's like, who the hell is this guest anyway? Four Eyes told him that it's a half-goblin, as he said that this bastard starts mocking Sue for being a half-goblin who dares to join the festival. In his mind, Gramps should have just let this dying bloodline fade away instead of dragging Sue into the party. Then this asshole notices Four Eyes stop pouring his drinks. He starts taunting the poor guy, basically calling him out for being half-blood too. It gets even worse. He says this whole quarter is packed with half-monsters who can't call themselves human, but demons won't acknowledge them either. He's all, at least you losers can prove you're useful to us real demons, saying, you half-demons will never be actual demons. Man, this dude is practically begging for a beating, and Four Eyes wants to punch his stupid face, but he keeps it cool and tells the guy he can't see the future and offers more booze to him. He asked about his setup for going into the human world. The leader explains how he's prepared everything so this guy can roam around without bumping into too many humans. He mentions Eusen's doing all this to save the human world. But nope, this entitled brat shoots that down real quick. He's like, we're not saving anything, this human world belongs to us, so no outsider's going to steal our humans. Meanwhile, he's thinking this whole mission is just his way to get Daddy's approval and show that he is just as competent as his siblings. Four Eyes asks him if he should go and check on Hongryun and tries to bounce, but he stops him. Now he wants the vice head to be his personal servant while he's in the human world. The leader's like, we don't do that here. But this guy's too stupid to care. He says that Four Eyes is just a merchant and should obey the wish of his customer. Just then, the massive demon energy flared from somewhere else. Everyone turned towards the direction, thinking, what the heck was that? And now it's time for some quick demon info drop. People, energy lies in every creature like water in our bodies. Humans, demons, whatever, everyone uses what they can store, and it's up to the individual how they use that water, and it's different for everyone, whether it's a human or the monster. And one more thing, even if you increase the size of your bowl, you can't hold more water than that bowl. Cut back to Sue asking if his host is okay and apologizing for the mess he caused. He's feeling incredible after popping that pill while casually breaking the rule we have just talked about. Just then, that bastard comes calling Sue so uneducated that he's letting his energy scatter everywhere in a place like this. Hongryun jumps in, saying it's her fault, not Sue's. But this jerk shuts her down with, I didn't give you permission to speak. He keeps mocking how Sue can't control his demon energy. She apologizes again, but man, Sue is getting pissed. And here's the thing, the more demon energy he has, the less gentle human Sue we get, and the more demon Sue shows up to the party. Our boy looks at this rude-ass demon and calls him exactly what he is, and boy, did it hurt this bastard's feelings as he said, what did you just say? Sue doubles down and calls him rude again, but with more attitude this time. And folks, that's when shit hits the fan. This spoiled brat attacks Sue, sending him flying. He's all about how he didn't make the difference in them clear earlier, so he'll be teaching Sue some basic manners as to how you should treat him. With that, he once again activated his unique ability. Hongryun tries to calm them, saying violence isn't allowed here because if the big bosses find out, they're all screwed. But this guy doesn't give a damn and looks at her, hitting her with the same ability, saying she too had stepped out of line while throwing the half-blood insult at her too. He turns back to Sue, demanding he kneel so he can teach him some respect. But our boy steps forward and basically says, if you think I'm being rude, let's settle this like men. Takes a fighting stance, ready to beat the crap out of him, and the idiot does exactly what he shouldn't and attacks Sue, but Sue this time counters it easily and then goes, you threw a water droplet at me at full speed, didn't you? He figures out this guy's collecting water from grass and surroundings to shoot at him. In the first attack, he had used the water from the tea that was spilled earlier, and Sue picked up on that. Sue remembers his fight from last night as he says, I had a similar experience today, and compared to that, you seem like a child. And with that burn still hanging in the air, Sue rushes at this bastard while apologizing in advance for the beating that was about to come. With that said, he rushed to him at full speed. The bastard he is studying, Sue, seeing how he had this massive energy gathered around his right hand, is thinking to himself how Sue is so simple-minded. While throwing some insults at him in his mind, he is thinking that he can easily predict what Sue is going to do, but as Sue gets close to him, he ducks and sucker punches him so hard that the guy plops down on the ground, and the lady just can't believe it as she stands there with her mouth wide open while our boy is now looking down on him. Meanwhile, Hongryun's watching this whole beatdown go down, and she's absolutely stunned. She's seeing Sue's fighting style and thinking to herself, this kid's got power, and he's a tactical genius. Our boy actually predicted that this arrogant bastard would try to read his movements, so he switched things up mid-fight. She's scratching her head, going, how the hell is a 3-day-old demon this ridiculously powerful? Sue asked the bastard if the beating was enough or if he wants more. If not, then he should get on his knees and apologize to Hongryun. He didn't mind that bastard attacking him, but attacking someone who actually tried to stop the fight that was just plain awful, and he has to beg for forgiveness for that. Our boy was clear about that, but this idiot is not having it. Instead, this bastard pierces Suu's arm with some fancy spell and launches another attack. But Suu dodges like he's Neo in the Matrix, sending him flying with a kick. This bastard activates his special power. Apparently, his clan can gather water from anywhere and shape it into metal. This water works like poison once it gets in your bloodstream, and he was counting on that fact, explaining how demons can regrow limbs, but poison, that takes forever to heal from. Suu hits the floor as the poison kicks in, while this idiot just goes, "You're pretty good for a half-demon, but you've never dealt with poison before, have you?" Then he readies his water weapon for the killing blow, throwing in one more insult about how Suu will never be a full demon. But our boy straight up tells him that it doesn't matter if he's ever called a demon or not, and the dude almost loses his mind as he realizes that Suu's already healed and he's sporting a brand new demon club. He can't believe his eyes, but he recovers quickly and charges up his ultimate attack. We're talking crystal water from underground here, people. This stuff is 100 times heavier than regular water, hitting with the velocity of a jumbo truck at full speed. Meanwhile, our boy's having his own little strategy session. He remembers from his last fight that the shape of his weapon matters for maximum damage. So he decides to change his club into a sword. Now he's no sword master like his friend, but hey, sometimes you have to improvise. He just needs to sharpen that blade and charge it up with demon energy. And with his core that was filled more than his capacity, you can do some serious damage. He cuts that water attack clean in half. Young Master's jaw hits the floor, watching his ultimate technique just disappear as the water splashes uselessly on the ground. The next second, Suu's behind him going, "Remember when you said demons can regrow limbs with enough demon energy?" And Stellice. Both of the young master's arms are gone because our boy's done playing nice. Standing over this whimpering mess, Suu asks real casual like, "Does it hurt? You should be used to pain, being a true demon and all." Then he kicks him away. Now this young master is absolutely terrified, thinking about how his clan rules over tons of demons and how he's the youngest, most obnoxious member who never apologizes to anyone or faces real consequences. He was about to face it now. Suu was standing in front of him with his aura flaring, asking him if he is ready to apologize or if he needs more beating. This bastard immediately begs for forgiveness, but our boy's like, "Not to me, genius to her," pointing at Hungin. His prideful idiot hesitates because he still thinks she's beneath him. So Suu reminds him, real friendly like, that they can always go another round if he hasn't learned his lesson yet. This brat drops to his knees before Hungin, begging for forgiveness. Cut to our boy's apartment. Solo wakes up asking for water. The scene shifts over to Morang, the big boss headmaster of Yang Hoi, and man is this guy pissed. He's expressing some serious regret and anger about all the chaos that went down while he was away, and the Four Eyes is apologizing, admitting he totally underestimated how much of a handful this situation would be. But Morang's like, "Nah, dude, this isn't on you or Hongra. Nobody expected you guys to babysit the youngest brat from the Haiti clan." Then he asks about Humbrian's condition. Good news, her injuries aren't too bad. Bad news, the girl's emotionally wrecked. She's blaming herself for this whole mess because she gave Suu that black pill without really understanding what the hell she was doing. Morang acknowledges she screwed up but gives herself credit. It was our boy's ridiculous ability to absorb that pill that made her realize her mistakes. Meanwhile, our guy's having his own personal crisis. Unlike 4 days ago when he lost control because of demon energy overload, this time he actually managed to stabilize his energy crystal and calm down. He's reflecting on the fight and trying to justify what he did. He knows cutting off the young master's arms was necessary to stop that idiot before someone else got hurt. Totally reasonable move, but the problem? He actually enjoyed the violence, and now that realization is messing with his head big time. So now that our boy's lost in his thoughts, Hongyun comes over, worried about her injuries. He asked how she was doing. She told him that she was okay. Doom reminds her that coughing up blood isn't exactly okay and it should be taken seriously. Then she drops to her knees apologizing, admitting she wasn't thinking straight and made terrible decisions. She's taking full responsibility for the chaos, especially giving him that black pill. Our guy tries to reassure her that the blame's on the people who actually fought, not her, but unable to bear the guilt. She told him that she had given him the black, knowing that it wasn't what he needed. She told him everything, how the silver or the gold pill would have been more than enough to give him the effect he wanted. Suu is confused and asks if she was trying to rip him off. But now she had done it out of jealousy. She told him that she was envious because they're both half-demons, but she's got none of his abilities. Half-demons usually can't store demon energy in their cores, making their existence painful and incomplete. They can sense the energy but can't absorb it, like being perpetually thirsty, but never being able to drink. She admits she was jealous of his exceptional talent. Not only can he absorb energy, but he does it at an insane rate. So her jealousy made her deceive him with that black pill recommendation. She apologizes deeply and says she'll accept whatever punishment he thinks is fair. Right in the middle of this emotional moment, the headmaster shows up and interrupts. He introduces himself to Suu and basically tells her, "I got this," before dismissing her. Our guy informs the headmaster he's already forgiven Hungry Yun and wants a refund on that black pill. The headmaster agrees while Hungry Yun is grateful for his generosity even though she feels her apology wasn't enough. Then the headmaster told Sue that Eusen, that bastard from earlier, is the youngest son of the prestigious Haiti clan. Our boy's surprised because Eusen's behavior was nothing like the grace and dignity that clan's known for. The headmaster warns that misunderstandings are coming because Eusen definitely won't tell his family the truth about what happened. To prevent things from escalating, he suggests arranging a meeting between both sides to explain their circumstances. But our dude refuses. He's like, if I need to confront the clan directly, so be it. I'll explain the truth that Eusen got violent over a simple apology and I had to defend myself. The headmaster acknowledges his reasoning but warns him not to underestimate the Haiti clan. Eusen's siblings are way more powerful than that bastard. Our guy admits he expects nothing less and says he's prepared for future battles. Then he drops his ultimate goal, becoming the Demon King. The headmaster's thinking this kid's pretty bold with that statement, especially since most demons won't take that lightly. He's trying to figure out why Sue wants this power. Sue told him that he just can't let a bastard like Eusen see him roam around the world. The headmaster thinks about how our boy is bold to say stuff like that. His stupidity is making him even more interesting. He hasn't met a character like our boy since the end of the last festival. He then slips his hands in his pocket and slams something on the table, saying that it is a gift and a token of apology from Yang Hoi House. But knowing that Sue won't accept it, he frames it as an investment in Sue's future rather than just a gift. Later, when Seo gets back to his apartment, Seo was there, ready to give him a beating for taking so long. She walks over to him and a bird is sitting on her hand. Sue thinks that it was Somi and bends to say hi to it, but it straight up attacks him. Seo asks him if he really was that big of an idiot, asking him how the heck he thinks that it looks like Somi. After he was done getting violated by the bird, Sola told him to not be this stupid in front of Somi, as she doesn't have a single white feather despite being a magpie, and she's always kind of bummed about it. Then, turning serious, she told him that Somi had just sent intel about missing people and based on her findings, she's identified areas that are likely hunting grounds for foreign demons. She told him that they're investigating one of those locations tonight to hunt down the demons. But first, proper preparation is needed, and our boy is all pumped, saying he'll do anything when he gets a punch to the face for being a terrible host and making her wear his gym clothes that smell like his sweat. So the first thing they had to do is to buy her some new clothes. Our guy in Seolwa went to the department store and the dude's jaw just dropped at the size. She asked him if it was the best store in the country, to which he told her that she could find bigger ones in the countryside, but Seolwa was already impressed, thinking to herself how it was already a feat building something like this without demon magic. Now here's the thing about our boy, this is his first ever department store visit and his first real shopping experience as a teenager. He's always been into fashion and had been saving up his allowance for exactly this moment. But back when he was overweight, his friends kept encouraging him to go shopping, but he always made excuses, thinking to himself that he'll shop when he loses weight. So now standing in this fancy store now, he feels like a long-awaited dream is finally coming true. He tells Seolwa she can try on whatever she wants and he'll pay for it, but man, when he starts checking those price tags, reality hits him. Turns out he has no clue what upscale shopping actually costs, while the sales role was all about how his girlfriend must be thrilled to have such a generous guy. Meanwhile, Seolwa tries on this stunning dress and asks how she looks. Despite being internally terrified about the cost, he tells her she looks amazing, while thinking to himself how it was a good thing he exchanged some demon coins earlier or the shopping spree would have been a financial disaster. After checking out the first outfit's price, he's pretty depressed but brushes it off, thinking it's thanks to her help that he even has demon coins in the first place. But Seal was not done. She insists she needs more than one outfit. Our boy's slightly panicking about the cost but keeps his cool. Then she hands him 10 demon coins and tells him to use them if he runs out of money for her purchases. He's overwhelmed by the gesture but accepts them. She confidently moves from dress to dress, showing them off and asking his opinion, totally enjoying this whole shopping experience. Despite this being her first time in the human world, Seolwa knows exactly what she wants. Turns out Somi made her read fashion magazines and practice shopping strategies. This girl came ready to conquer the mall while our boy's just winning it. Then some rude asshole bumps into our guy without apologizing. Seolwa notices and calls out the man for being a jerk, adding that humans are too soft when dealing with this kind of behavior. She tells our guy you should handle that because letting people walk all over you makes you look weak. She points out that this behavior could make him an easy target, especially in the demon world, where strength is everything. Then she starts lecturing him about the importance of completely overpowering opponents to prevent future challenges. So she brings up that whole mess with the Haiti clan member, she can literally smell their presence on our guy. She's telling him that the youngest member is probably still thinking about his attitude and that mocking face he made. Our guy's like, yeah, you got that right, because honestly, what else is he going to say? But then Seal would drop some backstory. Turns out she's dealt with these Haiti clan jerks before. The middle child, who's apparently 100 years older than her, challenged her out of pure rivalry. And Seolwa, She absolutely demolished this demon and told her to stay the hell out of her sight. She's using the story to make a point, man, our guy needs to stop being such a doormat. She knows it's tough to switch from a regular human mindset to a demon overnight, but when you choose to fight, you better do it right. And here's the smart part, she says showing strength up front actually prevents more violence later. The scene shifts to this young couple rushing through the store. The girl's all excited, telling her boyfriend to hurry up, but when she turns around, he's completely vanished. She thinks he's playing some kind of prank, not realizing he just became demon food. The demon is sitting there thinking to herself how she should have gone for the girl, as the guy is terrible, when someone approaches her from behind. The girl was in the mood for being mischievous, but the guy hit her with the bad news that Korean demons might be onto them. The girl smiles psychotically and says that they had always known that it would happen. The guy reminds her that they were supposed to be discreet and not draw attention, but the girl just laughs it off, saying they have been active for months and how those weaklings just found out, and now the boy gets all psychotic and asks her if they are breaking the law, so they might as well eat the demons too, and asks her if she's in. The scene shifts back to our boy, and it seems Seolwa had filled him in with what was going on there. Her visit here wasn't just for the shopping. In her report, Somi had told her that this area was the place where most humans had disappeared from, so while they were shopping, she had scattered her energy to find the demons and those bastards. Instead of running away, they were ready for a fight, so it was time for our duo to knock some sense into them. Seolwa starts breaking down the whole situation for our boy. She's explaining that this isn't just some random department store, nah man, this place is the ultimate hotspot. You got 3 subway lines crossing right here, plus a bus terminal connecting Seoul to the countryside. Basically the beating heart of the city with thousands of people flowing through daily. She tells him that with all these crowds, people can just disappear and nobody would notice. Like seriously, if someone vanishes here, everyone assumes they wandered off to grab coffee. Nobody's thinking, oh no, demons are eating people. Our fox girl does her energy sensing thing and boom, 4 demons lurking around. She figures they've divided the territory. 2 at the department store, 1 at the bus terminal, and 1 at the subway lines. The problem is, she has no clue what species these demons are, and that's always bad news. Our guy suggests calling Gramps since they're outnumbered and going in blind. But Seolwa shoots that down real quick. Look, dude, these demons are literally provoking us. If we start making phone calls, we're giving them time to bounce. The demons know they're being hunted but aren't running, meaning they got a plan ready. Seolwa explains that unlike demons who can go wild eating people, they got rules. Can't accidentally hurt innocent humans. She predicts the showdowns happening inside the department store after closing. Soon the night falls and we cut to the rooftop where demon siblings are having their family meeting. Rand notices Chain isn't around and he tells her that she bailed on the mission. When Ray tried talking to her, Chain was basically like, this sounds interesting, but I like my setup and won't risk my neck for you guys. Chain tells them they're not reliable enough and says she's finding a new hunting ground, wishes them luck but makes it clear she's out. The remaining 3 are like, whatever. Chain was never really part of the team anyway. Then Vega gets all ambitious about their master plan. Eat as many humans as possible, get super powered up, and go back to their homeland as total badasses. They're dreaming of becoming demon kings and ruling Zhangyuan, wanting to erase their family's humiliation at that moment. Stelwa's energy explodes across the building and using her inherent ability, Violent Whisper, she orders all the humans to leave the mall, so now the demon siblings are standing there thinking we might have made a mistake. Bran recognizes this isn't some amateur. He calls her a genius among fox demons, genuinely worried about her control level. In the blink of an eye, Seolwa shows up in front of them, saying how they stink and asking if they are planning to kill her with disappointment. Ray orders Wylan to head downstairs and handle the other demon while he and Viran would take Seolwa. But Seolwa laughs at their stupidity and says if you wanted to save your sister, you should have told her to run as far as possible. These idiots at least realize how screwed they were. One of them even saying that if they were to meet her when they had first arrived in Korea, they wouldn't have lasted a second, but now that they have eaten more than 1,000 humans, they are feeling cocky. Meanwhile, our boy is doing the hero thing evacuating remaining shoppers, and what do you know? Perot used his brain for once, using a fake emergency broadcast about a gas leak so as not to sound suspicious. You see him helping everyone from regular shoppers to elderly women with grandsons, making sure ordinary people reach safety. Seolwa had already told him to handle anyone resistant to her hypnotic influence. As our boy was about to head inside to help other people, YM showed up and Sue was ready to throw hands when he sensed her presence, but she told him to calm down as she didn't want to eat him. She was planning to, but our boy doesn't look that nutritious anymore, so she told him let's pretend we never met and skip the fighting. She adds that she is not planning to become the demon king, so she doesn't have to eat demons, and in 6 months, this world will belong to the demon anyways. Let's get along. Nobody notices a few humans go missing. Sue is getting angry but staying composed. Then he noticed that Wyan had come from the direction he had sent the old lady and her grandchild in. He asked her if she saw them and she smiled and said that she already ate them. The casual way she mentions it really gets to him. Dude just risked his neck saving those people and she's talking about eating them like it's no big deal. Sue was no longer holding anything back as, without wasting a second, he punched her stupid face. So there she goes, folks flying down the stairs after murdering who knows how many humans, and damn, this whole thing really messes with our boy's head big time. Look, up until now he's been living his demon life, thinking the only threat was other demons coming for him, but man, he never really thought about what demons do to humans. You know what I mean? Like, he's been so focused on demon versus demon drama that he forgot humans are basically walking snacks to these creatures. Wei-En's just standing there licking her lips, saying he looks absolutely delicious, and the moment she senses his power, no chit-chat time, our protagonist rushes straight at her. She's watching his moves real carefully. He goes left, she's tracking it, he attacks, and she blocks. He flips her to the ground with all of his strength. She's all crumpled up but still has that creepy serial killer smile going on. But wait, her expression goes full surprise Pikachu face when she sees his goblin club, and she's like, what the hell is that thing? Is that inheritance magic? He confirms it and swings at her, but this girl blocks it like it's nothing. Her arms are going full demon mode now, and not only that, but she yanks his goblin club right out of his hands while healing up like she's got some cheat code activated. Our boy's just standing there, jaw dropped at her true demon form. Then she attacks with those nasty demon arms, but surprise, surprise, he blocks it mid-air. Then she backs off real quick. She's all embarrassed, saying she doesn't want him looking at her like this because this is her inherent magic. Her arms and feet turn into demons, and apparently they smell like a rotten corpse. Our boy's like, nah, it's not about how you look, trying to be all supportive and stuff. Then she drops the lore bomb. She introduces her demon kind as the brain eaters who literally need to munch on human flesh to survive. That's their whole energy source. It's like humans drinking water, except way more horrifying. And get this, they're born from eating the carcasses of dead humans from wars, but after the law got passed, their survival became basically impossible because eating humans is as necessary to them as breathing, but now most of their kind are dead from starving, while some sneak into the human world to eat in silence. The sad backstory continues, folks. These demons get hunted by other demons, including her own parents. Then they're left alone without parents, living in a sewer without even a proper human form. But hey, look at her now. She's adopted that cute body by eating humans, and she's all casual about it, saying humans have been getting eaten for thousands of years anyway, and they'll be eaten in 6 months too, so what's the big deal? She asks him to pretend it never happened because she really likes him. But our boy hits her with the "I'm not a demon, and I want this law to stay forever." Then he challenges her to come at him because he feels zero sympathy for her. She rushes at him, and he realizes this girl has serious speed and power. Up until now, our protagonist has been progressing like crazy as a demon because of his bloodline and legacy, but this is the first time he's facing such a powerful opponent. But the girl loses control and attacks the wrong way because she's not used to all this power. The power gap between them exists because Wei-En has been eating human flesh for months, which gave her massive nutrients and demon energy. He opens his scroll and puts on his band. She suggests he use his goblin club again, but he's ready to fight without it, which makes her realize it's not easy for him to maintain that magic. After multiple attacks, she's getting the upper hand, and our boy's looking pretty weak, but she's shocked because she can tell he's got something up his sleeve. He's gambling everything on his goblin wrestling, literally staking his life on it. The scene shifts to his conversation with Seolwa, who wanted to know about his fight with a black tortoise. He nervously says it wasn't really a fight. She agrees, saying he's one of the strongest because of his bloodline talent and years of training to master both techniques. She adds that only a few demons over 500 years old in Korea are stronger than him. He's curious if she could beat him and asks, which makes her mad. She arrogantly says regardless of age, she's the strongest. Yo lady having white hair doesn't make you Gojo. Then she asks about his attack pattern against Goyu. He says he used the item Somi had given him and used the goblin wrestling, and then getting all disappointed, he told her that he has realized that there is a limit to what he can do. She asks if he stayed still after that, and when he confirms it, she's surprised. She explains that regardless of demon magic, he can use power differently depending on his opponent's strength, because his real power is in wrestling. Back in the present, Sel was standing in the department store with a smug expression, worried about leaving our boy on his own, but it looks like he's winning. She turns to her opponent, who's pretty beaten up, and she's disappointed because he only pushed her to use 3 tails when she expected to use 4. She expresses worry that she initially thought they were the strongest, but they seem to be dying, which is why they came to Korea to feed. Then she asks about their boss and who's been hiding them and how many of these bastards came to Korea. So for the past month, this dude's been declining to expose whoever this mystery person is, but she threatens him, saying he's going to spill, or they aren't going to be living anymore. Her little threat absolutely infuriates him, and he goes into full demon mode transformation. He refuses again while rushing straight at her. Meanwhile, she's checking out his demon energy, and she's like, oh, upper mystic level, nice, and immediately summons the Great Emperor. She crushes him into the wall with that smug expression, saying no matter what, he's not going to win against her because power isn't the only thing that matters. It's how you use it. So there's this bird chilling on her shoulder who's like, I like your outfit, which is such a random comment in the middle of the fight. Then she turns to Somi, who's complaining that she's not fun. She replies to her friend that she can't fall for the same tricks after a whole century. She notices Somi's condition and damn, this girl looks like a complete mess. She tells her she's got tons of work to do, including taking care of some guests, and begs her to help. Silwa agrees to help since she'll charm some humans for this, but she's curious about what business involves attending to guests. Then the floor starts shaking and she asks if there are any demons left. She says it's just Suwu. Song protests, saying she already warned her not to take him because he's not ready, but she brushes off this concern, saying it's his chance to get stronger. He can't level up fighting weaker demons, right? Selwa adds that Somi doesn't need to worry about our boy because he's a goblin, not just some ordinary demon. He's got a purpose to become a demon king, so he needs constant battles to get stronger for the next 6 months. Meanwhile, our boy is fighting with a psychotic girl who's confused why our boy is still standing while she's hitting him constantly. He's thinking about goblin wrestling, which is a combat trait gifted to every goblin. It's this power and ability that doesn't rely on magic, which is why they're not just good at wrestling, they literally can't lose when it comes to wrestling. He comes toward her while apologizing as he carries on after realizing something. She's watching his moves until he tries to kill her. She rushes at him, trying to block his movement while striking, but she's shocked to be stopped by him. Here's the thing, folks. The foundation of every martial art and defensive technique is to redirect enemy power and minimize damage. But instead of doing this, our boy takes the damage to his core. Like the goblin language says, like a tree deeply rooted in the ground standing on 2 feet. She depends on goblin power, and Suwu has realized this. Then he attacks with everything he's got, knocking her to the ground. She asks him to kill her now because she wants to die looking pretty. He says he can't do it because she's needed for the investigation about whoever let them into the country. She chuckles, saying she wishes he kept her alive for another reason. The next moment, our boy senses someone behind him. He turns and gets attacked by that person. Meanwhile, Sil was asking about these guests Somi's going to attend. She answers that China sent some demon to take responsibility for the incident that happened there. But the problem is they sent someone quite famous who's stubborn, making it hard to deal with. Seolwa asks if she's some 1,000-year-old lady. She answers that she's the grandfather of the Monkey King, the great sage Heaven's equal, and that demon is standing right in front of our hero. Man, the plot is getting better. Stu realized that she wasn't attacking him but the person behind him. He introduces himself and explains why he's there, but she's like, yeah, I don't care at all. Damn, that monkey's family is exactly like him. They don't listen to anyone. Upon hearing her accent, he immediately catches that she's not from Korea. She pulls out a hair and is ready to attack while warning Sue to step aside if he doesn't want to die alongside her. But our boy, this dumbass, chooses to save her instead. After blocking that blow, he thinks to himself, if you were just a regular demon from a few minutes earlier, you would have been dead meat. But it's also true that his goblin tree is pretty young, so he won't last long against attacks this powerful. Meanwhile, this Chinese girl is determined to teach our guy a lesson and attacks him again, but this time he's protected by Selwa's demon. Emperor Han, she says how she sensed something was off and came to check. Then she turns to the Chinese princess and accuses her of fighting with their demon when all she came for was to lend a helping hand. She threatens her to say something if she wants to live. She turns to our boy, asking about his condition. He says he's not severely injured and asks what this whole thing is about. She explains this woman is getting mad over nothing. She was treated like a princess in her country and thought it was beneath her to take orders from Korean people. So she wanted to flex her power to show who the real boss is. The Chinese princess finally speaks up, saying she didn't want to come here in the first place, and now that she's here, she can't stand being with demons who don't know their place. Seolwa provokes her by saying if they don't know their place, she should show them. At that, both women are ready for a catfight, while our boy is standing on the side trying to stop them. The next moment, Somi jumps into their fight, reminding Seolwa that this woman is their guest. She asks her if she's going to take responsibility for the consequences, which makes her stumble. Then she turns furiously to the Chinese guest, accusing her of coming for help while using demon magic against our boy. She reminds her about demon law, which says they can't fight each other without a judge present. She then threatens to pass judgment and officially report her if she doesn't back down. Our boy's surprised to see Somi this fierce, but Seolwa says she reached her position for a reason. She's the one who delivered messages on behalf of someone, which wasn't liked by many demons, but she did it with her head held high. That's why she's fierce toward demons who are in the wrong. The Chinese girl decides to give up fighting with our protagonist, but on the condition they won't interfere with her work since she came to punish sinners. She's generous enough to give them a little respect because she's in their country. Then she points out she was talking to someone anyway and leaves. Somi lets out a sigh of relief. She turns to our boy, thanking him for finding this place, saving humans, and hunting down the culprit demons. He shows concern about having places like this in Seoul that can become hunting grounds for other demons, but she stops him, saying not only these two, but also other demons like Goyu are also hunting culprits in other places. She adds they might not catch all of them, but there's a chance to get most of them tonight. Seolwa shows skepticism about demons coming to the human world to help since they might not have much time. She answers that there are humans helping them too, likely shamans. They're not working directly with humans but divided areas, so demons hunt south of the Han River while shamans work the north side. Our boy's expression changed after hearing this as he thought what Eusen was doing. The scene shifts to the Namsanjung district and Eusen is trying to catch his breath when some girl pops out of somewhere and starts telling him that this is what happens when he tries to go solo and asks him why he doesn't use assistants. With his authority, he can easily get like 15 of them to do the work for him. Now this girl is Soyeonji, the assistant shaman. Eusen told her that she didn't have to check up on him and that he was fine, adding that an assistant would have just gotten in his way and that he was better off fighting solo. She asks him if he hears himself being the head of the shaman. He says that he doesn't like using assistants and that it was unheard of. Eusen takes off his mask and reminds her that he never wanted to be the head, but that the old man forced him and that he is always ready to go back to being an assistant. She then asks him what the deal was with the monster behind him, as its size was abnormal. Just by a look, it's clear that it was a mystic-level demon. She asks him if it was the leader. Eusen just turns and says, yep, it is a mystic-level demon, but it isn't the leader. The leader of the group was much larger than him, almost the size of a tower. She is thinking how this dude is absolutely crazy to take on that many demons by himself, and she notices that Eusen was far stronger than he was a month ago. Annoyed by her, Eusen asks if that was all, or if she has something else to report to. Soyeonji told him that he has a meeting with the police commissioner. Eusen doesn't want to go, he wants to go home and rest. But she kits him with this is important business. He agrees to go meet the commissioner when she told him that he also have to pick up some entitled brats from the airport at 7 next morning. Eusen is like, are you mad? Why do I have to do that? And Soyeonji fills him in, telling that the children of the head of the Japan's Onmyoji family were coming to Japan, and as the next head, he should be the one to pick them as it's likely that they'll become the head of the family too. It was some sort of power balance move that Eusen's old man had planned out. Next morning, the two sibling lands, and the boy is excited about his visit and asks her sister to at least look a little alive, since it was their first trip abroad. Soyeonji tells Eusen that using a translator app now is a waste of time. Eusen groans and says he cannot look like an idiot in front of their guests. He also complains about his father allowing a shaman to team up with an onmyoji. Soyeon explains the history. During the Japanese colonial period, 2 onmyoji were sent to Korea under supervision. They teamed up with local shamans to battle demons in Seoul and Busan. Although they defeated the demons, they spent half their time fighting each other. Their clashing methods cause more damage than the monsters. Soyeon warns that history might repeat itself if they are careless. Eusen listens but then cracks a joke that if it happens again, he will be the first one sprinting out the back door. Their guests soon arrive. Eusen spots a boy walking with confidence while a girl trails behind, glued to her phone as if the screen is more interesting than reality. The boy introduces himself as Yoshihiro and says he is 17 by Korean age. He proudly explains that he has been training as an onmoji since middle school. Then he admits his sister is better than him. He points her out, but she hides behind a pillar. Her name is Yuzuru Kira, and she is 2 years older. Eusen observes her and thinks to himself that this girl is practically screaming trouble. Despite her attitude, he greets both siblings politely. Soyeon makes sure they are settled in a hotel downtown, offering help with whatever they need. Yoshihiro thanks her and notes that their sudden arrival must have been inconvenient. Later in the car, when the Korean side was explaining where they are going to stay and what they are going to do, the Japanese side seemed indifferent, so Eusen casually asked if they came to slay demons or just snap pictures for social media. Yoshihiro keeps a straight face and explains they came to deal with a specific demon that may have crossed into Korea. Yuzuru looks shocked, but her brother insists their father told them to handle it without help. Eusen raises an eyebrow and presses for details. Yoshihiro then gives a crash course on how Japan classifies demons. The first type is animal demons, who start as ordinary beasts but grow brains and power by soaking up demonic energy. Next are vengeful ghosts, souls twisted by grudges who basically wake up every day looking for someone to blame. Third are tsukumogami, or objects that come to life when possessed by spirits. The fourth type are nature-born demons formed straight from raw natural energy. Then Yoshihiro talks about the worst of them all, dark demons. He explains that only one appears in a generation. They are born from human fears and desires, not from nature or animals. These things are born smart and only get stronger the more energy they devour. Historical records describe them as disasters in physical form. Nations have had to unite shamans and even other demons just to bring one down. If a dark demon dies, centuries can pass before another is born. Yoshihiro admits that they do not know if one is in Korea, but a psychic in Japan foresaw its birth and hinted that it may have crossed the sea. He says cooperation is necessary if they want to survive. Back at the hotel, Eusen reassures Soyeonji that they will work together and report everything to his father. He admits the recent weak demons they fought seemed too easy and suspects those fights were distractions meant to lower their guard. He considers that the dark demon might already be hiding in Korea, quietly growing more dangerous. At the same time, Chen is shown with the Chinese princess, which suggests other nations may already be involved in the hunt. Meanwhile, in the mountains, Sil will train Su in a secluded spot. She says it does not matter if a few humans see them because she can handle small numbers with her magic. She notices that Su is still upset about the deaths of 2 people in the department store. She reassures him it was not his fault and admits her own magic failed to cover a wide enough area. To help him prepare, she starts teaching new techniques. She shows him how to create barriers, fold space, and cast sealing spells, saying that these skills will help him adapt when things go wrong. Stu nods, ready to learn from her, but she had different plans. She told him to be ready and rushed at him in an instant. She was almost to our boy's face, and Sue fumbled and was about to fall butt first to the ground when Silwa grabbed him by the waist, and Sue, who had never known the touch of a girl before in his life, blanks out. Both freeze like someone just hit pause. Silwa smirks and says that this position was perfect, and Sue is like, "What do you mean perfect?" Silwa told him to shut up and just relax. When getting close to his face, she told him that it will be over soon, though she said that Sue couldn't relax at all. You know, the sweet smell slips into Sue's nose. It is soft like flowers, but also sharp with peach, and for some reason it makes him feel like he's been drinking on an empty stomach. His head spins and his chest pounds like he just finished a marathon, though the only exercise he has done is standing still looking confused. He shuts his eyes, hoping the world will stop swaying. When he opens them again, the scenery has changed. The place feels both familiar and strange. Selwa's voice cuts through his confusion, telling him he hasn't actually moved anywhere physically. What he sees is his own mind shaped from scraps of memory. Sue tries to relax, but still asks if this is just a cheap illusion. Selwa almost laughs. She explains that her kind uses something called Violet Whisper. It is a strange magic that lets her poke into the nervous system and plant visions directly. She can make people see things, hear things, or forget things. Most of the time, she does not bother with it because it takes effort, but today she wants to see how he handles a real test. The world twists again. Standing in front of Sue, it's a version of himself. Same height, same muscles, both with blazing red eyes that scream villain mode. It feels like looking into a cursed mirror, and he hates it instantly. Seolway explains this double is built from both her memory and his memory, which means is faster, smarter, and much harder to trick. Sue tenses as the fight begins. The clone charges with speed that makes demons look lazy. Sue swings hard, but his attacks are dodged with ease. Seel was just chilling on the sidelines, making observations like, yeah, your instincts and natural talent got you this far, but now you're facing someone who matches or exceeds you. Your usual tricks won't work here, buddy. Our guy's throwing everything he's got at this opponent, but nothing's working. This thing doesn't even seem to use energy. That's when he starts thinking back to his previous battles, trying to figure out how the hell he survived all those impossible fights. He recalls the Goblin Club that adapted to him like it had a mind of its own. Drawing on that memory, he changes tactics. He knows that he can't get as good as him, but that doesn't mean this fight is hopeless because our boy has a few tricks of his own. He launches the clone in the air, summons his Goblin Club, and channels everything he has. His plan was simple. The clone was strong, but he could use his strength without the ground, so while the clone was falling down, Sue was ready with his Goblin Club in hand and a home run and end this battle in one shot. Then he turns to Seolwoy all proud, like, did you see that? I found a weakness in his movements and used it. Seolwa closes his book, smiles, and goes, yeah, both of us recognize your strength, and Sue immediately turns around, thinking who this second guy is. Seolwa points to his back, and his opponent is back on his feet. And now the bastard has a Goblin Club too. Seolwa explains this like it's some kind of honor system. The weapon means he respects you as a legitimate threat now, meaning that he was just playing with him till now, but Sue isn't listening to her. He is just sizing up the clone's Goblin Club, and that thing is massive. Sue then looks at his club and mutters to himself, hey, this isn't fair just like that. The second round starts, and man, it's not even close. This opponent is stronger and more relentless than before. The fight ends with our guy getting completely demolished, and the whole world just dissolves around him. When he opens his eyes, he's back in reality, breathing heavily. Sue was there praising him for giving it, saying that she had thought that he would get a one-sided beating, but he did surprisingly well, and casually adds that the test was never meant to be winnable anyway, as that clone was so damn strong that it needed her to use 5 tails to beat that guy. Now Sue is curious. He asks if she measures the strength of her opponents based on tails, so how many tails would she have to use to beat him? She thinks about it for a moment and goes, it would take me 3 tails to defeat you. Maybe 4 if I was in a hurry. Then she adds this terrifying detail: her strength increases exponentially with each additional tail. Every additional tail makes her 1.5 times stronger than the previous stage. Just as Seolwa suddenly notices a presence as he turns and says that she had already noticed her asking her to come out, it's Hongrun, apologizing like crazy for intruding. Our guy recognizes her immediately, which surprises Seolwa. Hongrun explains she brought some special items, including clothing made from rare demon treasure designed specifically for them. The story goes back to the day before, where Sue was sitting with Headmaster Moraine, who was trying his best to sound like the world's friendliest banker, except the bank in this case is made of demons. Moraine talks with big hand movements and plenty of fake warmth, promising rare items, secret knowledge, and support that sounds almost too good to be true. He even says Sue will get special treatment, but Sue wants to know the real deal. What exactly does Moraine want if he does become Demon King? Moraine answers without hesitation. He says Sue is not the only candidate on the market. Many investors are out there shopping for future kings. Whoever wins gets the crown for 666 years, ruling over the night with power that covers their families and backers. That is why demons who are too weak to try for the throne themselves are busy placing bets on others. Su listens carefully and then makes a smart observation. This system must make a lot of bitter demons who feel ignored. Morang admits it happens but waves it off as nothing serious. He explains with an example. At first, he and his group wanted to sponsor the young master of the He clan. His bloodline looked promising, but after seeing Su fight, they realized the boy was nothing special and decided to go with him instead. Morang then shares his main advice. If Su wants more power or to crush rivals, he must simply prove himself in the festival. The festival will naturally separate the strong from the weak. Those who fail will vanish, and those who survive will stand closer to the throne. Morang promises that if Su wins, then they can renegotiate as equals. Until then, this support is just a goodwill gift, and the choice to continue later will rest with Su alone. After this tense talk, the scene shifts to a lighter moment. Hongmin walks in carrying a special outfit made from demon treasures. Su puts it on and is shocked when it fits perfectly over his normal clothes like a custom-tailored suit. Sielwa explains that such garments are not for casual everyday wear. They are built for serious moments or emergencies and can change to fit the wearer. Hongmin shows Su how to use it. All he has to do is gather his hands and say on or off. Su finds this so easy that he keeps turning it on and off. Hongga notices Sielwa and starts to suspect she is the famous nine-tailed fox genius who rejected countless sponsors, calling them all small fries. Sielwa teases Su for playing around too much, and then turns her sharp tongue on Hongga, accusing her of spying. Su breaks the tension by asking if Morang shared any more news. That is when Hongga brings up Eusen and his failed mission. Apparently that dumbass had gone on a hunt with 2 other demons, but the mission ended in disaster. The 2 demons were killed and Eusen came crawling back injured and panicked. His story was messy, but the fear on his face was clear. Sielwa comments coldly that Eusen has shamed his family. In her view, it would have been better to die with pride than to live as a coward. Su then asks if Eusen's clan plans to punish him. Hongga says probably not. The clan knows about the failure, but so far has done nothing. Still, everyone can tell the clan is shaken. At that moment, a bird arrives with an update. Apparently, the hunt was a success except in one area, and that too is not a big deal. They'll just restart, and this time they will likely target the remaining foreign demons all at once. The bird says that it should leave and go help Somi, as she is still inexperienced, seeing his troubled expression. Sielwa says that if he is worried about Somi, he can go to check on her if he wants. Su asks her if he can do it. She says that he can, but he'll have to get an earful from Gramps and Somi. She explains that knowing the location of the enemy gives him a natural advantage, and if he succeeds, no one will care if he broke a few rules along the way. Then Sielwa turns serious. She tells Su he must start working on his demon magic. Strength alone will not solve everything. Muscles can smash doors, but magic will open ones that fists cannot. Su nods but keeps asking Hongga for more details about what Eusen said that night. The scene then moves away from Su to a hotel in the city where Yuzuru Kira is staying with her brother Yoshihiro. Yuzuru is restless and wants to go out to explore. Her brother stops her and asks what she is really planning. He reminds her that they are in a foreign land and should respect the rules. Yuzuru glares at him and denies that she is up to anything. She snaps that he is being controlling again and reminds him she was not the one responsible for the Suida incident. Yoshihiro does not look convinced, but before he can speak, she slams the door and walks out with this sarcastic promise that she will be back for dinner if he feels like calling. He shakes his head, doubting she will answer. Outside, Yuzuru is filled with frustration. She is tired of being stuck in this place and already planning how to leave. She has no intention of wasting her strength. Instead, she decides to use her special ability to draw demons to her. She carries the spirit of fortune, a 7th lucky child, a strange psychic being that stores her energy and boosts her luck. She asks the spirit to give her the best fortune of the day. The spirit picks at folded paper from its box. The message is both clear and confusing. It says that today she will meet the man she has been dreaming of, but the path will be complicated. Her lucky color is black. Yuzuru isn't happy about it. She wants something simple like beware of falling rocks, not a romantic riddle. Just then, a taxi pulls up and a guy steps out, and Yuzuru is just standing there frozen in shock because, holy crap, our boy is looking fire, and what do you know? The fortune was actually accurate. Meanwhile, in Seoul Park, we've got Byung sitting on a bench doing some serious people watching. Chain shows up and she's confused because she thought he hated humans, so why is he sitting here staring at them? He told her that hating someone and looking at them are different. He explains humans hate insects but still like watching them crawl around in jars. That is how he sees people. Amusing from a distance, disgusting up close. Chain says she cannot relate. Baeyeon calmly tells her she is still too young to understand since she has not even reached her 2nd birthday. He admits she learns quickly, though, and promises she will get it in time. Chain changes the subject and asks if he thinks Ray and his siblings are alive. Baeyeon answers without emotion. He believes Ray and Viren are already dead. Their enemy was too strong for them. There is a small chance one is alive, but he says it is hardly better than death. He is sure their enemies will torture her for information, though he doubts she will break. Chain's expression hardens. She confesses she could not stop thinking about them last night. At first, she felt nothing when she refused Ray's offer, but walking away alone made her realize how much they meant to her. She reflects on the years she spent with them and admits she only now understands her feelings. She calls herself a fool for wasting them on her own desires. Then her eyes turn red, she starts salivating, and she reveals she ate all night, but she's still hungry as hell. When Baong asks how much she consumed, she admits she lost count. Then she hesitates and asks if what she did was right. Baong does not hesitate. He reminds her that yesterday was the last day she had to restrain herself. Since midnight, she is free to do as she likes. He tells her he has no right to stop her and urges her to follow her hunger. By lunchtime, he says the news will be reporting the entire apartment complex missing. Shine then circles back to Ray and Viren, asking how Baong knows so much about their fight. She wonders if he was there. Baong admits he saw it, but insists it was by accident. He had no business with them but happened to be nearby. From behind a wall, he watched the fight without interfering. Cut to this quiet alley where Yuzuru is standing alone, and behind her, Stu is observing her. She notices he's got this strong demon energy aura just radiating off him carelessly, like he's not even trying to hide it. She's thinking either this guy is recklessly arrogant or he's deliberately acting incompetent to lure someone in. She debates if he is a human controlled by a demon or a demon too clumsy to cover his tracks. Our boy Su is holding this tracking dagger that used to belong to Master Eusen. Hungren had explained to him how it works. You channel demon energy into the blade, pierce your opponent, and it leaves a shard inside that lets you track them over great distances. The shard stays there unless someone with stronger energy removes it. He's thinking about the enemies who overpowered Eusen and those two other demons, finding it interesting that the shard is still intact, meaning either they can't remove it or they just don't care. Speaking of those enemies, we jump to Tao and Zen sitting in this dimly lit room. Zen's got a knife embedded in his arm, blood dripping everywhere. Tao asks why he hasn't removed it, and Zen explains the wound isn't serious, plus removing it would temporarily prevent him from summoning new demons. Then another demon storms in, absolutely furious at Tao for being reckless and exposing them to danger. He's worried they won't be able to eat humans anymore because of his mistake. Tao chuckles and says, "I've decided not to eat humans anymore." This shocks the hell out of everyone. The demon demands to know what he plans to eat instead, and Tao explains that while humans taste good and make him stronger, they never satisfy his real hunger. He admits his cravings aren't for humans themselves, but for the challenge of defeating strong opponents. The other demon thinks this is completely insane and announces he's leaving before he gets caught up in Tao's madness. He asks Zen to come with him, but Zen surprises everyone by refusing. He wants to stay with Tao and change too. The demon gets furious, reminding Zen they're not like Tao and can't just change their nature. Tao turning to him, Tao says that he knows that things would be difficult, but if he stays with him, he can promise one thing, and that's even if he were to die, he won't die before him. The other demon calls both of them crazy and begins to leave, so out of spite, he tells them that he is going to eat everyone downstairs before he goes and asks them if they have any problem with that. Tao tells him he is free to do whatever he likes and reminds him to eat as many humans as he can before the sun sets. Just then, Tao senses a presence, and one thing you should know about these dark demons is that since ancient times they were called by different names depending on the era and region, but their desire for battle stayed the same in every era, and in this era where things have turned for the worst, both demons and humans call him the god of war. Flaring up his aura and with a crazy smile, he was looking forward to meeting our boy. So Su steps into this building without even hesitating. The moment he's inside, he can sense two distinct energies, one coming from upstairs, another from downstairs. The whole place reeks of blood and malice, screaming Demon D-E-N in Mion letters, but our guy is completely unbothered. Behind him, Yuzuru is following, and she's thinking, what the hell drives this guy? The oppressive energy in this building is suffocating. It's clearly a trap, a demon hangout where they feast on humans. For someone to casually enter it without a second thought, there is something wrong with him. She could just turn and head back, but since the seventh child had given her a low fortune, it means she's not going to die today. Plus, she's kind of curious about our boy too, so she decided to head inside. She summons her familiar and leaps to the second floor of the building and immediately encounters the masked demon, who for some reason was absolutely terrified. Meanwhile, downstairs, Su encounters a demon of his own who's literally in the middle of eating a human. Without missing a beat, Su demands to know how many people it's eaten and how many other demons are in the building. This demon finds our boy and asks him why he was asking him an obvious question like that, but it doesn't matter because he was soon going to end up in his stomach anyways. Our boy raises his hand and delivers a powerful punch, sending him flying while calmly repeating his questions. He makes it crystal clear he's not here for games and warns the demon not to underestimate him. The demon just chuckles, calls him a fool for not finishing the fight immediately, and launches its own attack, but this fool didn't know that he was against the MC, so his attack did absolutely nothing. Internally, he is freaking out, but he has a plan, as long as he keeps his distance from our boy. He is confident he'll win, and Su decided to hit him with reality in the most brutal way possible. He just walks up to him. The insect dude was going hard at him, hitting him with one attack after the other, but Su didn't even budge. After a while, the monster ran out of stamina, panting. He asked Sue exactly what the hell he was in. Sue hit him with, "You're just weak," and then hit him with a reality check, asking him if this was all he was able to achieve after eating all of those humans. He asked him if he ever actually felt satisfied consuming all these humans. Is it ever enough? The demon laughs it off with that classic predator logic. There's nothing wrong with a predator feeding on its prey. We eat humans because we can. Then it calls Sue a hypocrite for using violence to achieve his goals well, and it just so happens that became the dude's last words, as Sue killed him without wasting a second, pulled out a magic crystal from its body and consumed it. Meanwhile, upstairs, Yuzuru encounters Zen, and honestly, this dude is kinda cute and not at all threatening, to the point she even thinks that he was left behind by his group, so she decides to capture him alive rather than killing him, as that would be more useful. So she hits in with a lightning strike. Just then, Teo's voice calls out from behind him, and suddenly everything changes. This guy radiates such commanding energy that both Yuzuru and Zen freeze. He criticizes Zen for showing fear, telling him to always appear strong even when weak because hesitation invites defeat. And you know what? Due to the special characteristics of the Japanese archipelago, the shamans there have more practical experience than theoretical knowledge, and Yuzuru is a specialist when it comes to summoning creatures who had killed more than 100 demons over the past 5 years and was doing it when she was practically a child, and due to that experience, she realized that Tao was in a completely different league. Tao continues to lecture Zen and then shifts his attention to Yuzuru and tells her that he hadn't intended to trick her. While she's panicking inside, she knows that she is no match for him, but it's just that she can't run now, and how things are, her possibility of making it alive from here is slim. Before Tao can make his move, our boy appears with his goblin club and kicks him like a football and sends him flying. Stu turns to Yuzuru and tells her to go back. She asks him if he too was here to kill these demons. If that's the case, then they can work together. Tao laughs and tells her that she didn't understand what our boy meant, so he lays it down for her. What our boy meant earlier was that she'll only slow him down and get in the way, and she doesn't take that well. She calls her spirit Deer Cry of Thunder and shouts at Sue to move aside. She warns him that if he blocks her, she will fight him too. Then she throws a huge bolt of lightning at the demon, as she already realized that Tao is someone who is way stronger than her, so she doesn't hold back and hits him with her most powerful attack right off the bat, and just to be extra careful, she throws a second strike, but right after that she feels her strength drop fast. 2 hits and she already feels weak. Normally she can fight much longer, but here her power is fading. It happens because her energy does not match the land in this country. Before she could attack again, Sue grabbed her weapon and told her not to push it or she'd get hurt. Yuzuru looks around and thinks the demon has run away. Sue explains that is not true because if he had the intention to run away, he wouldn't have first gotten rid of his goblin club, so it only means one thing: he was saving his friend. But regardless of the reason, he was going to follow him, but before he left, he once again told her not to follow him. She keeps talking back, so he grabs her by the neck. His grip is strong enough to scare her, but not strong enough to hurt. He warns her that even though he does not harm humans, he could end her in a second. Just then, he noticed that her summon, who was now in her cute form, was trying to save her. As he realized that he had stepped out of line, he apologized for scaring her and said the demon used her as bait, knowing he would protect her. He adds that her pride is making things worse and he does not want any more humans to die today. After telling her that, he turns and starts leaving and asks her if she can deal with the remains of the humans in the basement. Suwu then goes after the redhead demon. The demon waits calmly and smiles as if meeting an old friend. He thanks Suwu because it was because of him he was able to keep his promise. Then he starts talking about the place, saying how this place is part of a redevelopment area so no civilians are around. Only a few reporters are nearby hoping to catch his story. He then realized that he was rambling, so he stopped talking, saying that he had just gotten excited, and then attacked without warning, and just like that, they started throwing hands. Both were exchanging one blow after the other. Our boy hit him with the goblin club, sending him flying, and was about to follow up with another attack when Tao punched him straight in the face. Right now, both of them were standing on equal footing. The longer the battle goes on, this balance tips in Tao's favor because he was a monster who had a clear perception of the true nature of himself, and that nature was violent, and this fact gave him an overwhelming advantage in this battle. Just then, a memory flashes in Suwu's mind. Seolwo once told him about a demon pill. She said the pill could make him stronger, but it was also dangerous, reminding him about the kobold demon who lost control of its body after taking in too much energy. Suwu survived that fight, but she warned him not to test his luck again. If he took too many pills, he might lose himself and turn into a monster. But right now was not the time to be cautious. He had to use all of his tricks, so he quickly gulps down one pill. Tao noticed he did something, but he didn't know what, so he decided to ask him straight. But our boy also had no idea what he did, as he had become a monster only a few days ago. But we get narrator privilege, so the ability Suwu used right now is called Goblin Mask. It was the third ability of the goblin species. The scene shifts to a quiet village. A boy is telling his mother a story. In his story, he was attacked by a giant snake and a giant demon, but was saved by a goblin. His mother listens and asks if this person really said he was a goblin. and what he looked like. The boy explains that the goblin was twice the size of a normal man yet still looked human. His mother asks if he had a horn. The boy shakes his head. She says someone from another village claimed to see a horned goblin. Just then, the father joins the talk. He says he has seen a goblin with no horn. He shares a memory from his youth where he saw two goblins fighting. They looked exactly like what the boy described. Dad keeps going, says after the fight, these goblins just vanished into thin air, but he noticed they were wearing these pointy things that looked like horns but were actually masks or helmets. So basically, everyone's been confusing fashion accessories for body parts this whole time. Dad wraps it up with some wise old man wisdom. Look, goblins are beyond human understanding, so don't even try to figure out what's real or fake. And that's how demon stories get passed down through generations, turning into folklore that's got some truth mixed in with a whole lot of "I heard from my cousin's friend" energy. Now let's leave the folklore and come back to the present. The existence of the goblin horn is different from that of a legend. In reality, it's not a part of the body. It's a demon treasure made from the demon energy, and its main power is speed. When he wears it, he moves so fast that even demons struggle to follow his movements, and right now our boy was using that same power. In a flash, he punches the redhead in the face before the demon even realizes he has been hit. Before Tao can breathe, he kicks another blow to the gut that doubles him over. Su does not pause. He grabs the demon and hits him with his goblin wrestling skill. The throw is so hard the ground itself shakes. When the dust clears, Tao is bleeding and Bro is missing his arms like both of them. And being a half-goblin, Su was instinctively able to understand the ability of the mask. The mask works like Selwa's talisman, but instead of giving him one direct attack, it boosts his wrestling skills. This makes him far deadlier in close combat. But it comes with a price. It was consuming his energy at thrice its original rate, and it was too much for his body. Su realized that he cannot keep fighting like this forever. Meanwhile, Tao starts laughing as his arms regenerate. He tells Su that he was simply incredible, saying that he learned more in the last few minutes than he did last night and reinforces his body with his magic. Tao recovers with his own unique magic. He calls it Supreme Ironclad Demon. His arms transform into weapons as hard as steel. This pisses Suhu off as he said he really is thankful to him, so he should just die. Tao replies that it's the one thing that he can't do as he is having the time of his life fighting right now. He leaps from his place and throws in a punch, and both of them once again exchange blows, and once again both of them are fighting on equal footing, and once again it is Su that is on the losing side in this battle because as the fight drags on, Tao begins to evolve. His kind grows stronger in the middle of battle. He unlocks a new ability called the 9 Forms of Glacial Wind and throws wind attacks at his opponent. But this guy dodges like he's got Ultra Instinct and immediately summons his Goblin Club. Our boy tries to end the battle right then and there, but nope, this demon appears right in front of him instantly and slices his arm with that wind ability. Now both of them are rushing each other again with their most destructive abilities. Tao combines his ironclad powers with those 9 glacial wind forms to create the Supreme Spear of Waves. He's aiming this thing at our boy's Goblin Club when suddenly our MC vanishes into thin air. The next moment, Tao's been cut clean in two, so now Suwu's standing there with his weapon when suddenly his spider senses start tingling. A new demon shows up and starts praising Suwu's power, comparing him to a pureblood goblin. Then he smiles and introduces himself. He too is a goblin, so now our boy Suwu is standing face to face with him. Seeing the bloodlust in Suwu's eyes, he tells him that he was not here to fight and walks past him, and all he did was take a step, but he was so fast that Suwu wasn't able to see him move. Now standing in front of Tao, he says, "If you got the time to master this new ability of yours, things would be different." Then he casually says, "Well, no problem, there is always a next time." But no Suwu appears behind him, completely disagreeing with that whole next time idea. He attacks the guy with full power without even hesitating, and what do you know? This behang guy blocks our boy's full power Goblin Club attack with just his fingers. His hands get a little scratched up, but his feet rock solid on the ground like he's rooted there. And that's exactly what happened. This bastard used something called the root technique to manipulate the Earth's surface and tank an attack that should have sent him flying. Stu had just learned this technique recently, so he knows exactly what he's looking at. Behang realizes that Solo recognizes the move and now thinks he's dealing with a real goblin. He's like, "This must be confusing for you, since everyone told you that you're the last goblin, and now here I am claiming to be one too." But our boy says, "Look, dude, I'm not confused, and I honestly don't care if you're a goblin or a flying unicorn. What I want to know is, are you the piece of garbage who's been smuggling demons from other countries and letting them feast on humans?" And this psycho just happily admits it. He's like, "Yep, that's me. I gave them safe houses and all the intel they needed." He asks Su if he wants to know why he did it, and was about to explain his twisted reasoning when our boy just loses it and attacks again. Because honestly, what explanation could possibly justify letting demons eat people? But Behang dodges that attack easily. Then hitting our boy on the gut, he says, "Let me give you some advice. Always keep one foot on the ground when you are fighting someone stronger than yourself, because Urouti is a pretty OP skill. Unless it's a poison or curse type attack, it can deflect most of the attack and let you get away with only a few scratches, and all of this just by keeping one foot on the ground. And it was useful in attacks as well, as it allows one to bring out their maximum output without even using demon energy. He then told our boy that you're pretty good for someone who learned this stuff without any guidance. Then he completely changes the topic and asks Sue if he likes dogs, and he starts babbling about how he hates dogs with bad masters who bark at them because he sees it as repulsive how a being who needs protection and care from those higher up on the food chain doesn't know its place and has the audacity to growl at them. Sue asks if he's been letting demons eat humans just because of this insane dog analogy, but Behang says that's not his only reason. This lunatic goes into this whole speech about the good old days when there was no demon king or laws, when everything followed the natural food chain where strong demons ate weak humans. He asks if this appeals to Sue, and our boy basically calls it what it is. That sounds like a childish idea. Behang just chuckles and says he understands why Sue doesn't get it, the difference in power, experience, and age. Then he offers him a job. Join our cause since you impressed me by beating Tao, and I'll teach you everything about being a goblin. Sue asks what happens if he says no, and Behang drops the friendly act. You don't have a choice. You can do this the easy way or the hard way. But before he can finish his villain monologue, Yuzuru appears behind him and hits him with her dear cry of thunder. She knew that attack wouldn't do anything to him, but she was counting on the paralyzing effect. Sue immediately takes advantage and launches this psycho off the ground. His recovery is slow, though, because he's been focusing all his power on shaping his goblin club. During his previous fight, he was able to change the club's shape for reasons he doesn't fully understand. Everyone knows that goblins can change their club's shape according to their will, and Sue has done this in multiple fights, but he had never poured his emotions into it before. In just a few days, he's seen demons eating humans and was too powerless to stop it. Now that he's found the person behind this whole mess, he wants to kill him. So the first emotion he pours into his club is bloodlust, pure, intense bloodlust. With his club now charged with his intense anger, he unleashes power that rivals a spirit-level demon. So there's Yuzuru just standing there completely blown away, thinking, how the hell did Sue become this strong? Because our boy's literally bursting with power. He charges at her with his weapon raised, all dramatic and stuff, and tells her to duck, because that bastard was about to attack her. He goes for the attack, swinging his club with full power, but it literally does nothing and bounces off of him. This guy's praising Sue, saying, it really surprises me how you got stronger after that fight. Then he suddenly remembers that his role is to be a dick and hits a boy with an attack. Sumu tries to block it with his weapon, but it breaks in an instant. Seeing this, he goes, oh, your club was made for killing, so obviously it sucks at defense. You should use your body to block next time. Now he turns to Yuzuru and asks if she's the Japanese shaman, all polite like, excuse me, miss, are you the supernatural lady from Japan? Because you really shouldn't be here just then. He sensed that Sue was about to do something stupid, so he grabbed her by the neck and told her that he would let her go if she dropped that crazy idea and the pill. He starts going into this whole lecture about side effects and tells him that his demonic energy has already gone through sudden changes enough times today, and if he takes it, even he doesn't know what will happen, while casually adding that even if he decides to take it, he won't be able to defeat him. So his only choice here was to admit defeat and go with him. But our girl Yuzuru interrupts him, saying that he doesn't have to do that for her, as dying during a mission is something that she has always been prepared for. The villainous dude didn't like her interrupting him, so he goes, you know, small fry, you are seriously annoying me now. And he is about to choke her, and not in a fun kind of way, when suddenly his hand goes flying and punches come flying. The new guy is seriously overpowering him, and then Goyu shows up behind him, telling him that he should relax now. Sue asks him who he came here with, and Goyu points to the mess they had caused, saying, isn't it obvious, idiot? Meanwhile, during the actual fight, this nerdy-looking guy was still going at it, throwing one punch after the other, but Biyong was tanking all the hits. He hit the dude's chin with a kick, and told him that his efforts were for nothing. He has speed, but his punches are useless against him. And the four eyes goes well. That is to be expected. After all, we aren't built like you goblins. He then activates his inherent magic crystal water, and suddenly the goblin is bleeding from every pore of his body. The four eyes does what every glasses-wearing idiot for some reason loves to do. He pushes his glasses back and says that he didn't want to use this trick. So this guy is the big brother of that annoying dude, and is the representative of the He clan with their unique magic, being able to control water, and turns out that he is some kind of genius. Even among them, he can cast blood spells that are extremely hard to do. He starts shooting water drops like bullets, but Biyong is actually dodging them. Stu is all shocked to see Yu Yang fight when Goyu told him that he should be familiar with his demon magic since he kicked his younger brother's butt yesterday, and then he mentions that Yu Yang guy is way stronger than him, and Su had no clue that Four Eyes was that bastard's brother. Although both of them use the same technique, they are worlds apart. Goyu explains that the skills vary between every demon, even if they are of the same species. And it just so happens that Yu Yang was the golden boy of the He clan. Back to the battle, Yu Yang is thinking about how he has used his blood ability, but the goblin has barely shown any sign of slowing down. The goblin asks him if he is done because he was just getting started. Four Eyes turns to Goyu and tells him that he is going to go all out and tells him to take Suwu and Yuzuru to a safe place, and then he summons a water monster using every last drop of water in the vicinity, and his dude has a name. Four Eyes orders Ishimi to attack, so everyone around is just standing there with their jaws on the floor watching this insane magic show. And our boy Suwu immediately recognizes this technique. It's the same stuff Eusen had used yesterday, only way stronger. Ishimi charges at Beiyang, and for some reason this psycho is a little too excited to get hit by it. Meanwhile, Goyu whips up a barrier to protect Suwu and Yuzuru. Now you might think that the back Tortoise clan and the He clan are both water-based clans, so they might have a good synergy. But the two clans both use water, but their styles are so different that they don't mix well. Goyu's thinking to himself that he definitely didn't team up with Yun because they're compatible. He's here because these damn goblins are so ridiculously overpowered that they needed all hands on deck. He cancels his barrier and checks on his partner, who admits he is exhausted after using such a massive amount of demon energy. He stares at the crater, waiting to see if Beiyang survived. He suggests that one of two things happened. Either he overestimated Beiyang's ability and now that guy is down for good, or he ran away and didn't wish to continue the fight. He says that he is betting on the latter since he knows that he didn't inflict that much damage on him, and that dude ran away, saving his energy for his next fight, and then he smashes Suwu straight into the ground. Yuzuru yells that they are on the same side, but Yu Yang shrugs her off, saying that she has done enough and she should return, as whatever follows from here falls under the demon domain. Cut to Seoul, where things are getting even weirder. Tala shows up in front of Chen, who takes one look at him and goes, "Oh cool, another dark demon. I'm going to eat you." But Beiyang interrupts her, saying if she wants to eat him, she should at least wait until he's at full strength. Chen's annoyed that this guy's still breathing, and he's like, "Killing me is not that easy, you know." What really gets Beiyang excited, though, is that Yu Yang actually figured out his root technique. The kid was smart enough to mess with the ground to counter his moves. Chen says she'll be more careful when she tries to turn him into a happy meal, but Being's over here practically bouncing with joy because Yu Yang is the first demon in thousands of years who can actually keep up with him. Then Chen asks, why doesn't he just go for it? And Being looks up the sky and goes, well, it might rain soon, and since both Yu Yang and Goyu are water users, fighting them in the rain would be stupid. Also, as crazy strong as he might be, he's not confident that he can take both of them in at once. Plus, if he does, it's possible that Chen and Tao might die just by getting caught in the middle of it. He's bummed about not getting Suwu, but hey, he's got all the time in the world to try again. Bro could take a 1,000-year nap, so time is not a problem. Meanwhile, Suwu wakes up, and now the after effects of being stupid are hitting him. His whole body is aching so much so that he can't even move. He looks to his side, and Yu Yang's on the phone with his boss, making the most awkward sick day excuse ever. Yu Yang explains that Suwu just got his demon mask and wore it for too long, something he shouldn't have done. He told him that he should relax and give his body time to recover, and told him not to be this careless in the future. He then changed the topic and apologized on behalf of his little brother Eusen, and Suwu was like, we're cool, don't worry about it. Then Suwu asks about Bong. He told him that he said that he was a goblin, and Suwu was like, didn't you guys tell me I was the only goblin alive? That's when Gramps appears from somewhere, saying that he too had thought that, but it seems that it's not the case. He tells our boy that that goblin's name is Beiyang. He was the goblin prince who existed in Korea 1,000 years ago. The scene moves to Seoul, and Silwo looks up the rain. This demon is amazed to see rain in the human world, just like in theirs. Silwo jokes that she always thought humans either sang in the rain like fools or stayed locked up whining about the weather. Somi laughs nervously and asks her how weak she thought that the humans were. She thanks him for handling a department store mess, or else she would have been buried under witnesses. Silwo told her that's not that big of a deal, but she is concerned because she was supposed to teach our boy. While they chat, they see a woman trying to cheer up her friend, who wants to ask a man for his number, but is too scared since he is a big deal. Silwo tilts her head and asks what this nonsense means. Somi explains that the visitors of this demon shop usually drool over the owner, who has no clue that girls have a thing for him. Silwo gets excited and enters the shop and finds out that the owner was Goyu. He asks them for their order, and Somi tells him to bring out the usual and asks Silwa what she wants to drink. Silwa loses interest in this small talk and spots a boy who smells like a demon. She picks a fight because he looks arrogant. Somi begs her to calm down, but she waves him off, saying she already knows this guy. The boy points at her and shouts that as a fox she is just waiting to steal the throne after the tiger left. So demons that come from animals inherit the old rivalries that those animals had. Fox and tiger never got along, so naturally they want to rip each other apart. They both threaten to kill each other, but a new voice cuts in and a fine-looking mommy walks in, reminding the boy it is their first day in the human world. In a public brawl, the fox is career suicide. He argues that she started all this by picking a fight and then threatening to call a judge. Woleon gets close to this lucky bastard and tells him that he is a clanless nobody and she belongs to a powerful clan, so he should not go around picking fights because in the end he'll be the only one who'll get blamed for the fight. Seola comments that it's an odd way to beg for mercy, but he lets it slip by because she doesn't want to kill the last person of the tiger kind, and Somi is thinking how it's unlike her to show mercy. Seolwa then teases the Wolion, calling her a wicked ghost raising a tiger. She even warns the tiger boy to watch his back around her. I'll gladly switch places with this tiger boy since you know I'm a hero for real. Finally, she turns to Goyu and asks him why he has called for them today. Goyu tells them that Gramps have allowed some strong demons into the human world without proper checks, so now that the mission is completed, they have to go back except for the three of them. This makes Somi worry for Suwoo, but Goyu assures her Suwoo is an exception. Somi is all worried about him and asks him if he had sent him back to the demon world. Seolwa, on the other hand, assures her that Suwoo is not so weak anymore as to get bullied by the demons, but since the dude is still a human inside, it's going to be a problem with how stupid he is. If he is left alone, he'll be eaten in a few days. She then turns back and tells Goyu that she's going back as per the original agreement. She still has to train Suwoo, but Goyu interrupts her, saying that Suwoo is still in the human world and hasn't been decided if they'll send him back, so for the time being her task is to protect him from humans instead. The story shifts back to Suwoo, who is stunned to hear Baeyong might be his ancestor. He asks how old that makes him, and Gramps answers that if he is really the one they think, then he is around 1500 years old. Suwoo almost faints because he thought demons maxed out at 500. Yudong explains that most do, but the strong ones can stretch their energy to live 1000 years at best. Suwoo remembers how Baeyong looks suspiciously young for his age and says this makes no sense. Yudong sulks, saying even his best attack did nothing. Gramps comforts him, saying only Seolwa and Goyu could match that power anyway. Then he explains the history of goblins. 666 years ago, the goblins fought each other and both sides perished, leaving only Bacon, the runner-up of the festival. But he died too because of the injuries, and that's why they had declared goblins to be extinct. This means Suwoo being a descendant sounds unlikely. Still, the sudden reappearance of a Baeyong with the same face and strength makes everyone uneasy. Gramps wonders why such a monster stayed hidden until now. He then asks about his parents and if his mother is really just a normal human. At the same time, at his apartment, his mother walks in. The scene shifts to a time when Suwoo was a chubby little third grader squaring off with a fifth grader twice his size. He messed that kid up so hard that the school had to call her mom, so now his mom is there apologizing to the teacher while Suwoo stands there. The teacher explains that the older kids took his ball first and that Suwoo barely touched them, yet they still walked away with scratches and tears. After the meeting, his mom gently asks if he is upset. He shrugs, saying he was the one in the fight anyway. She tells him that he was not wrong, but makes him promise never to hurt anyone again. To young Suwoo, this felt less like a lecture and more like a favor his mom begged from him. So he kept his word and never fought again until life tossed him into the demon world. Back in the present, Suwoo tells Gramps that his father was a champion wrestler and the dude had a solid build, so it's likely that he is the source of goblin blood. His mom, on the other hand, is kind of normal. She studies old art and looked ordinary, so it's unlikely that she even knows about the existence of the demon. Gramps shakes his head, saying maybe she hid it from him. He points out how Suwoo turned into a goblin in just a few days, and in just a few days he has become this strong, which is not normal. Stu interrupts, saying they are more shocked that he is not as weak as everyone thought. Gramps even has a wild theory that Baeyong might have planned all of this and plans to make our boy his right-hand man. Suwoo gets angry and tells him that he has no connection with him, and Gramps tells him that it doesn't matter, as he finds him innocent, but the problem is they are the only ones who think like that. The shamans have a completely different idea about him. They believe Suwoo helped Baeyong by hiding souls and are already working with human higher-ups to cover the mess. He even shows an online post where people question recent disappearances. Gramps sighs, saying the shamans lost face and now need a scapegoat, and to make matters worse, today's incident happened in broad daylight, and that gave them even more fuel, so they are using that to kill Suwoo. Suwoo admits it was his fault for acting alone, but Gramps argues he never harmed humans directly or showed his demon form, so it is his right to judge the case. Still, Gramps softens and says he will protect both Suwoo and his mother. He asks why his mother, Yuyong, explains the shamans see his mother as guilty too since she raised him. Those words make Suwoo panic and leap and run for his house. Gramps stops him using his magic and tells him that he knows where he is coming from, but he can't go outside because that's what the shamans want, and he assures him that he has already sent someone to protect his mother so he doesn't have to worry about anything. Yang tries to calm him, saying they cannot predict what will happen if he is caught now. But Suwoo insists if something happens to his mom because of his recklessness, he will never forgive himself. He breaks free, shocking both of them, and then leaps out the window, vowing to accept punishment later, only after he ensures his mother is safe. Gramps turns to Yang and asks why he let the boy run. Yang admits sheepishly he had no water around him to use, and he can't just draw water from the pipes, and Gramps was like, nice try, dumbass, but it's literally raining outside. Gramps then told him that he has really gotten soft, and that's why the demons have started to look down on him, and he then chuckles, saying how it's his clan's curse that the soft ones always turn out to be the strong ones. Yang fires back that Gramps also let Suwoo go because no matter how strong Suwoo was, his demon magic can't be torn that easily. He says that he let him go because whatever Suo would do won't affect their relationship with the shaman, as he is the only one responsible for his actions. Plus, although he is a demon, he isn't heartless enough to ignore the tears of a child who cries for his mother. Meanwhile, Suo's mother waits in her apartment trying to reach her son. Suddenly, someone starts ringing the doorbell like crazy. She was about to open the door when Silwa suddenly whispers her spell and freezes her while muttering how humans are more stubborn than she thought. At that moment, Eusen steps inside the apartment. Silwa told him that it doesn't matter how many of them there are. If he doesn't want to die, he should give up and kneel before him. Silwa uses her violet whisper to freeze Eusen, but he does not draw his sword right away. He is careful not to hurt Suo's mother, who is caught between them. Well, smart move. Honestly, nobody wants to explain to their friend why they accidentally sliced up his mom during a demon fight. That would be an awkward conversation to have. Just then, Soma walks into the apartment looking relieved that Suo's mom is safe. She's like, yeah, the shaman's pretty weak, so securing her was no big deal, and offers to get mom out of there before things get messy. Just then, a strange pressure fills the room. The two girls have never felt this before since they were born after the festival. It was a barrier created before by the shamans. Then he effortlessly breaks Sola's mind control and drops his sword immediately, saying that he has no intention to fight and is even willing to cooperate if their intentions align. Sami recognizes him as the guy who saved Sue earlier. Eusen explains they're all trapped because of the barrier around the apartment complex, but they can break it from the inside. Cielo doesn't like how he's acting all buddy-buddy with them. She points out that sure, he might be Sue's friend, but he's still a shaman first and his job is to hunt demons. And since Sue isn't human anymore, she doubts he'd betray his whole profession just for friendship. Eusen realizes what she was saying, so he quickly hits his acupuncture points that control his energy and temporarily blocks them, and tells them, see, now I'm a regular human, and tells them they can confirm if they like, and Siola is confused as she asks him, you know I can make you a puppet until your last breath, and Eusen tells her that he knows that, but he is willing to risk it all if it means he can rescue Sue's mom. She asks him why he was going to these lengths, and Eusen hits her with, didn't I tell you, woman? He's my friend. Man, Eusen is a real one. Meanwhile, our boy finally reaches his apartment complex, even though his muscles are screaming in pain. He looks out the building and senses some weird energy, but can't figure out what it is. Just as he's about to take another step, some voice stops him. A man introduces himself as Jagging, a Class 3 shaman. He mocks Sue's smaller body, saying he does not look like a half-goblin as he introduced himself. Sue remembers something that Eusen had told him about the shaman agency and figures out that this guy may be Eusen's cousin. He then demands Sue surrender, saying that he had sealed the entire area and his buddies are going after Sue's mom, and if he doesn't give up, she's going to pay for it. Sue's considering fighting, but then remembers they're in a populated area with innocent people around. But before he can think too much about it, another shaman attacks from behind. Our boy's got those spider senses, though the attack was so sudden that he wasn't able to dodge in time. The lady sends him flying with her kick just then, and then another barrier behind him opens and Jagging's going, you're like a fish in a barrel now. Just surrender quietly. But nah, Sue is ready to settle this with violence when he senses demon energy coming from his mom's apartment and realizes Silwa must be there with her. So our boy makes the smart play and starts running in the opposite direction, trying to draw the shamans away from his mom. He's thinking if he can get far enough away, Silwa will have time to get his mom to safety. Jagging attacks, but Sue dodges and realizes this guy is way stronger than he expected. Much stronger than Eusen, and in every aspect Sue blocks all of his attacks. But this wasn't a one-on-one fight, so the shaman from before joins in too. She is giving our boy some bad vibes. Sue's worried about innocent people getting hurt since they're fighting in broad daylight. But Jagging explains the barrier makes them invisible to regular people. Plus, everyone in the complex is under a sleeping spell that'll break when the barrier comes down, and then he rushes towards Sue. Sue catches his fist and says, good, then this means I can fight without holding back. So Sue grabs Jagging by the shirt and flips the dude with his goblin wrestling. He's told him that he must have sensed that he slowed down in the end, so he clarified, I wasn't holding back because I thought you were weak. I just didn't want blood on my hands, and warned him that if he continued the fight, he didn't know if he'd be able to hold back, and this hurts this little dude's ego. He gets back up and charges again, hitting Sue with kicks and punches, but Sue didn't even budge and stood there tanking every hit. Finally, Sue decides enough is enough and punches Jagging so hard the guy goes flying. Then he turns to the female shaman expecting her to jump in, but instead he hears Jagging cursing at her, calling her a love child and orders her to do what she is supposed to and summon. Sue's confused about what's happening between the two, but he instinctively realizes that he has to stop her from doing whatever she was doing. But before he can figure it out, she summons a chain of 100 spirits to bind him, but our boy breaks free of it in 1 second, and he rushes at her again, but she's got this protective barrier up. He pulls out his goblin club and starts studying her moves. Her barrier keeps her safe, but it's also limiting how much she can move around. While she's chanting, he's trying to figure out if this shield has a time limit or if he can just brute force through it. Then she finishes her spell and spirit fire appears behind him. Cut to Eusen inside Mom's apartment, where he's breaking down the shaman's battle plan. There are 5 total shamans. 3 heads and 2 assistants are positioned around the complex like compass points to form this barrier. Instead of using talismans, they're using themselves as anchor points. He says they need to take out at least half of them to collapse the whole thing. But here's the problem. These demons have 0 experience fighting shamans. These guys train specifically to kill demons with martial arts and magic. The 3-head shamans can even take down spirit-level demons, so Eusen suggests they coordinate and take down 1-head shaman each at the same time. Yahello reminds him that it's a good plan, but he has blocked his vessel, so he is useless now. Shaman points out this isn't exactly a walk in the park, and they need to worry about innocent humans getting caught in the crossfire. Yahello reminds her that protecting humans is supposed to be the shaman's job, but Eusen told him that it's usually the case. But the shamans, for some reason, are obsessed with Sue and are not thinking about civilians. They only want power and reputation. He adds that for 666 years, shamans have been waiting just like demons. Somi's confused because humans have made so much progress without demons around. Eusen agrees it's been great for humanity but terrible for shamans. Since there are no demons to fight, everyone sees shamans as outdated, superstitious weirdos. The younger generation especially has this massive inferiority complex, and they've been dying for demons to come back so they can feel important again. He explains these shamans don't actually care about the missing humans or what happened. They just want to catch someone to save face and prove to the government they're still relevant. It's all about maintaining their authority and stopping people from questioning whether they're even necessary anymore. Some is shocked that shamans would sacrifice civilians for their reputation. Then they feel this massive energy surge, and Eusen explains that's Jagging opening the convergence of 100 spirits. He breaks down the 2 types of Korean shamans. The scripture chanters, who get power from reciting texts and can amplify energy in different ways, and the deity summoners, who are born with the ability to connect with spiritual forces. Jagging belongs to the 2nd type, and he's literally summoning a deity into his own body, specifically the divine general of the dancing sword. Sue's never seen anything like this before, but then something weird happens. Something inside tells him to like the video and help Mamoru to make juicy content and activate that cheeky little bell.